All right. So I am sitting here with the legendary Phil from Phills Barber.
Sheesh.
Welcome to
Live
the show.
and direct.
Another episode of Rejuvelation where we talk about everything important and maybe a little bit of bullshit too, but not too much.
I love it. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. And we have a third man today also, Preston, good old friend. And if he decides to jump in, he will.
Maybe.
Maybe.
All
right. So, a lot going on in the world. Hit me. Where we at? What's going on? And how you feeling?
In my slice of life, man, it's total mayhem, dude. Like, today has been the 48th hour of trying to figure out what's going on with my permit situation for cutting hair out in the street. On Tuesday, I got contacted, and they were like, hey, we'll give you a tent from the city. And then next thing you know, Thursday morning, hey, you got to get a permit. Whoa, I had no idea. We should probably got the permit before we talk about getting the tent, right? So then next thing you know, we had the city come out. I'm hearing 4 different stories. What's this? What's that? Fast forward. Finally today, I get the permit documents, right?
Yeah.
I have to draw a plan. I got to do this. I got to fill all this stuff out, yada, yada, yada. And so nobody's told me any kind of costs, what this is going to be looking like. And then even then, we don't really even know if the city manager is going to be able to approve it. So it's even if I fill everything out right, everything's cool, boom, 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 then it has to be approved by the city manager. Now, in the back of my mind, on top of all that, well, who's to say that we're going to be continuing to be closed, right? So if I pay for this permit, I do all this stuff, I do everything you want me to do, and then they say, oh, well, you can just go ahead and go open up back in your shop.
Is that you? Is that real time?
No, it's Rum Boy.
It's the feds.
It's the
As
feds.
soon as they found out,
Yep.
city manager said, send the brute squad.
Yep, 100%.
No, I think it's called the Strike Team.
All right, we have an
Strike
unexpected
team.
guest straight
What's
from
that?
the British Isles.
Oh, you were serious?
We're
Yes. Welcome.
Alex didn't know we were
Welcome to
serious
join
about
if you
this.
want. If you-
Satnam.
Satnam.
You gotta talk in the spirit mic.
Into the what? Spirit mic.
The third.
Weird mic.
I thought you said the spirit
Okay.
mic. It can be-
So.
It can be the spirit mic.
That's what I love about this show. Anything could happen.
Anything can happen. Anything's possible.
So the city's jerking you around. They don't know what side's
well,
up or down.
I mean, they
buy the
said it
tent,
themselves.
then get the permit. But we denied. You can't have the tent because you need to have a permit first.
Right. So it's one of those deals to where right now, I mean, they've already told me, like, you're kind of the guinea pig, you know what I mean? So there's no real groundwork. There's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, what can I do? If it was up to me, I'd rather just cut hair in my shop. That's the easiest thing possible. I don't really want to be out on the sidewalk with my propeller hat, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do.
It'd be fun.
Ah, you see.
It'd be fun, but, you know, it's just like, what's the easiest thing? Easiest thing is just cut hair in the shop.
Can't do that.
Why not?
Because that'd be too easy.
Because Gavin Newsom, that's 100% Big Daddy. And Big Daddy says jump, and everybody's got to jump how high.
You know,
That's my uncle.
You know, the more you move that microphone, it's incredibly sensitive, the more distorted it's going to be.
Thanks.
You should just
Is it true?
I have no idea.
You know,
you know. It's not an SM58.
Well,
That's a super serious microphone, double-edged. It's
Yeah,
a
this
double-edged
is a
sword.
4.
It's a broad mic.
You think a 4N can't handle a little bit of movement?
No, but I'm wondering why you're wearing headphones. Like, it looks like you know what you're doing, but you definitely don't.
If it so happens that this audio is distorted, audience, I apologize. I will do my best to edit it out in the future. But you never know.
you never know.
It's weird the guy on the lowest chair is talking the most.
But he made the grand entrance.
Hang on. Explain why that's weird.
It's interesting.
Explain why that's weird.
I think Phil will.
You said it. Explain why you think that's weird.
What are you even talking about? We've got a show going on. You just barge in here. You have no headset. You got
So
no
did
mic.
you. All right, fair game. Phil, back to Phil.
Done.
Phil.
Hit
So,
me.
the city thing aside, I think it'll all work out in your favor, as I hope it does. In the broader scope of what's going on with the shutdown, what are your feelings on, just in general, how you see people reacting to it? Do you think it's a good thing going on, or?
I think a lot of people are scared. I think a lot of people are confused. They're getting different information. I mean, the big graphic going around right now is, oh, well, California has more confirmed cases than New York. And I'm like, we don't have comparable population sizes. New York's 1/5 our size, right? So we finally surpassed the coronavirus total of number of infected of a state that has 8 million people when we have 40 million people.
8 million people in New York State? I thought it was way more than that.
No, you can look
The
at
whole
it.
state?
Whole state.
How many people in New York City?
I don't know.
Because there's 8 million people in London. So I'm just, but I don't know the numbers. I'm just comparing it in my mind. I didn't realize it was that like 8
It's
million
ridiculous.
for the whole state.
Bro, all you have is New York.
Yeah, I suppose.
Who else? What, Utica? Is
The
a big
other
population
aspect
center?
is that
Buffalo.
the density of population in New York City is off the charts, and the sanitary situation there is not good whatsoever. The pollution is much higher than us.
That's embarrassing.
It's close.
Pretty close.
Yeah, you're only 8. Yeah, it's close.
That's pretty close, dude.
Is it?
That's pretty close.
That's pretty close, mate.
What's pretty close? The audience can't see in your screens.
Do you want to say it, or shall I?
Well, the population's a little bit higher. You know what I mean?
So New York, as of this moment, population of New York State is 19.45 million, where California is 39.5 million. So you're only 10 million off.
That's pretty close, dude.
What about the city itself? New York
You
City.
said 8 million in New York State. That's why I was judging it by London. There's 20 million in the state, apparently.
Yeah, but then Phil also said that the city was the state of New York. There's nothing else there. So,
What else is
both
there?
right.
All right, we'll let that one slide, shall we? What are you drinking on?
A little bit of bone broth right here.
Oh, lovely. Organic or just regular?
Straight up Whole Foods, bro.
Ah,
The
Can't
vat,
go wrong.
5-gallon bucket right in the back.
a little salt, or just as it comes?
Salt.
A little salt.
You have to get the salt.
You gotta put a little salt in
You
there.
have to.
Or sodium.
Bezos approved.
Oh, 100%.
Mm.
You know he tries every single product that goes through his
Every
store.
single one.
He has his own private store where he picks whatever he wants off the shelf and then takes it by and throws it on the ground. And all these little robots come and take it away. And he's like, all right, well, we'll spend some more advertising money on that.
Thank you, Jeff.
I liked it. Thank you, Jeff. I like the idea of something. This is going to fucking set you off, I'm sure. I quite like the idea of, I want groceries. I'll just order it, and a drone will just drop them off at the front door. Great. Saves gas, lowers carbon emissions.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. A lot of people don't like that.
I want more carbon.
You want more carbon?
More carbon.
That's why we're wearing the mask now. Carbon is good.
You have to increase your carbon.
Yeah, I don't know what the statistics on the reality of really how much inhaling carbon, how much carbon dioxide you're actually inhaling when you're wearing a mask. It can't be that much. It really can't be. Think about a surgeon. Think about a surgeon who has to wear a mask for 9 hours doing knee surgery. If it was really that bad for you, surgeons wouldn't. They'd be wearing an oxygen mask.
Well, the third leading cause of death in the United States is medical accidents. So I'm pretty sure they're all fucked up and killing each other all the time. So
I don't see the link between the two. But
neither do I.
And what is it?
Back to Phil.
A quarter million people every year die from medical accidents just in the U.S.?
No, it's actually more.
It's probably more.
Way more.
people die. It happens. I'm sick of statistics on death. It happens. I was having a conversation with my mum the other day.
I mean, it's
Everyone keeps
100%
tripping about-
likely.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good statistic. It's 100% likely that you're going to die. Fine, we die. Isn't it such a massive waste of life sitting and statistically analysing how much death, or what's the fucking delta? Where's the metric of death?
Is it
up
a
and
waste
down?
of time?
What's the fucking point? You're going to die anyway, so just, alright, people die. If you get hit by a bus, it happens. You get cancer, it happens. What the fuck? It happens. It's like, that's what part of the most major part of life is. There's two things for certain.
So you're
born and
anti-COVID
then
testing.
you die. I didn't say that. I'm not anti-COVID testing. I do think that a lot of people are inflating numbers, which is it probably agrees with what you're talking about as I walked in. No, I don't. I think numbers are pretty much irrelevant. That's a quarter of a million people all over the world died from coronavirus. Okay, a quarter of a million people probably just died in Africa from starvation or somewhere else in the third world country whilst we've been having this conversation. Where's that? Where's the 800,000 children that disappear a year
In the US alone.
in the UK? In the UK. Was anybody talking about that? Anybody got time for that? But we got time for.
Well, that's real talk, and that's what it's really about. This is a huge distraction for what's really going on, which is pedophilia in the upper echelons of the world. And they don't just do it because they love to have sex with children. They do it for adrenochrome, which is their organ harvesting so that they can stay young forever, because these people want to be gods. They consider themselves gods, but they're not. So they have this cognitive dissonance part where they know they get old, but they want to extend their lives indefinitely if they can, adrenochrome being one of the primary means which they do that.
However, I agree with the theory that this is a thing that is occurring. It also is just a theory at this stage, and it is lots of things that have been put together until this is it's theory. I subscribe to the theory, but it's theory nonetheless. Not as far as I'm aware, no one in this room has taken adrenochrome, so no one particularly knows. Maybe Phil. That's a joke. It's a joke.
We don't
You gotta keep it light. You gotta keep it light. You might not. I'm the comic relief. It's fine. I say
You're a clown, all right.
That was good. I'm wearing makeup though, but whatever.
Looks like it.
Preston, you were the only one wearing a mask when you walked in.
No, that's his real face. It's just a facade. It's just a facade. It's we all wear.
It's a pretty impressive beard.
We all wear masks.
True.
Adrenochrome it's theorized. It could largely be possible. It's something that I definitely would subscribe to. And that the theory makes sense. However, how does it scientifically? How does it keep you young and full of vigor or whatever it is that what they use it for? And no one in this room, as far as I'm aware, has taken it. So how do you know? Aside from people on the internet just spouting theories.
Why are Wayfair cabinets so expensive? Is it just because they're industrial? Doesn't seem like it.
No.
Throw pillows for $12,000?
Anyone could have done that. The amount of hacking stuff that's going on at the moment. What happened fucking 2 minutes ago? All these celebrities' Twitters, like 2 days later after that, were all hacked and a whole bunch of other stuff happened. So it could just be, you don't think it's a bunch of Russians are sitting in a room with a bunch of computers just fucking with the Americans and they'll believe anything? Watch.
It's always the Russians.
Vitaly,
always
look,
the Russians.
Vitaly, look,
Damn it.
adrenochrome. I put it together.
Not Vitaly Vids. Not Vitaly Vids.
Not Vitaly. What about that Russian guy with the big arms?
Oh no, the juice head with the synthol?
Yeah,
Dude, that guy's a legend.
I know.
Synthol Steve.
Monsters. He's got like, what, 28-inch arms?
Who knows?
Full of synthol,
You
about
can't
to
measure
pop?
them. They're too big.
Yeah, that is true. Didn't he just have like a fight?
Maybe.
I think he did. I think he had like a Russian rubles per view or something.
Speaking of fights, what about Mike Tyson coming back?
Mike
Is it
Tyson
gonna be a
coming back
real
is going to be
fight?
huge.
Is Mike Tyson just going to get in the ring and just snap and go back to the 1990s monster?
Look at him
Mike?
train. He's a monster.
Have you seen the videos of him training? There's that moment where he has the 1-2, he ducks the hook, and he has 2 left body shots. Do you see that? 2 left body shots. If he hit you with those 2 shots, every one of your ribs are broken. Doesn't
Done.
matter who you are. Every one of your ribs are broken. The pure power and the sound of the force hitting that pad. Dum, dum. Yeah, you break every one of your ribs.
Knowing Mike Tyson, he'll be the first human to ever go up against a cyborg or an actual full-on robot, and like he'll die in the fight, but he'll almost destroy it. You know, it'll be like the
Depends on
most
the robot.
epic.
What if he wins?
Well, what if he wins? And he's the only human to ever do it. It's the same robot, copy after copy, but he's the only one who ever wins. And just like, I defeated the Terminator.
That's the final Rocky movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, the guy tried to fight a gorilla once. I mean,
It's
the
not-
robot would be probably a step down from a silverback gorilla.
I don't know which robots we're talking about here.
You never heard that story? He
No,
was
I
at a
heard the
zoo.
story.
Who?
Mike Tyson was at a zoo,
Uh-huh.
just got out of his mind on coke,
Uh-huh.
offered a zookeeper 10 grand to open the gate and let him fight a silverback gorilla. And the zookeeper's like, no.
But he did it anyways.
No, the gate never got open. Mike would have
Yeah.
died.
Yeah, he would have done
There's
It
no
would've been
fighting
done.
a silverback gorilla.
No, there's
There's getting killed by one.
That's it. That's it. You know that can crusher you just bought? That's what would happen. Just,
You already broke it?
no, fool. I said that's what would have happened.
chimps. How do you explain how strong they are?
It's just what they are. I mean, how do you explain why is a blue whale so big?
How are they so big? It's a good question.
God.
Yeah. What else could it be? What do you think, they just evolved that way?
Nope.
Think about it. They just a little bacteria swimming around the ocean said, fuck it, I just want to be huge, dude. I thought about it.
I wanna be me.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty greedy to get that huge.
How do you...
Wow.
I mean,
I
that's...
mean, a blue whale doesn't own anything. It just swims around and chills.
Who said anything about owning anything? I mean, for food, you got to just want to eat all the time.
Mass.
You got to be
Think
good
of
at
mass.
what you do. Okay, let's rephrase it. Maybe not greedy, but you just got to be really good at getting shit down, eating, hunting. Whatever you do, you're good at it. That's why you get that big.
Well, I don't know. I think they just evolved that way.
Do you think a Preston's stomach evolved that way, or do you think it was all the beer and bullshit food?
I'm going to go with option B.
I would
Yeah.
say that's an evolution of his former self.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Well,
Exhibit A.
food is so important. And by the way, you're on an all-meat diet, right, Phil?
Yeah, so I'm doing carb cycling. So like usually
On
about
carb
5 days a
cycle?
week. Well, I have them usually about 2 days a week. So 2 days a week, I don't really measure anything, don't think about anything. I just eat whatever I want. And the rest of the 5 days, all I eat is meat. I started doing that in January of this year. It was World Carnivore Month, so that's when everybody started doing it. And it was just fun. It was a cool experiment and experiment.
So even your drinks are made out of liquid meat.
Yeah, I'm literally drinking bone broth right now. This is like boiled bones of animals. So it's good.
Dedication. You know,
It's got a little bit of salt in it, a little bit, just a tiny, tiny little bounce of honey.
That's interesting. Salted
That's
honey.
not me.
Yeah.
That's a new one on me. Actually, it is.
I need to get you some
It's an animal product.
I need to bring you some of that.
Bee vomit.
Honey's
The
not
queen
meat.
salt.
Bee vomit.
You can
I'm
find it
in.
here at Whole Foods.
I'm in.
You know about
Queen
that?
salt.
The queen
Yeah.
salt. That's the best salt you've ever had. No joke. Little
Queen
cayenne,
salt?
little cayenne pepper as well, maybe.
Salt
That would be good.
approved by the Queen.
Yeah.
I
The Queen.
see.
There's a store in London called Fortnum and Masons. No, Fortnum and Masons. Yes, Fortnum and Masons.
Freemasons.
No, Fortnum and Masons.
And Dream Crown salt.
Masons.
What is this?
Preston, I think you hit the nail on the head on that one.
Yeah.
You didn't even
I
see
think
it
we should
coming.
move past the adrenochrome. Should leave that in the.
Why are you getting so nervous about talking about this now?
He
I love
did
it.
because
Wanna-
first of all,
'Cause
he
I love it.
denies,
It's-
he
this is
denies
what
it
this is right
exists.
now.
Yeah,
This is not black
Or
pepper,
that it
cucumber
works.
LaCroix. This is adrenochrome and cayenne pepper mix.
But why do you want to keep moving?
We call it a
past the drink
stinger.
cup?
It's called a stinger. It stings.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think we hit something interesting.
So what do you
Yeah.
think about SpongeBob's address in the
I
show
saw that
being the
yesterday.
exact same as Epstein's Rape Island?
Yeah, I saw that 2 days ago. That's legit.
I thought that was hilarious. Is it 100%
It's
legit?
100%
Confirmed.
legit.
It's
Confirmed.
confirmed. I didn't even look into it
There's
because
a
I was
screenshot
like,
from an episode where he shows his driving license.
Right.
And the address of the driving license is Epstein's Island.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That one's a little
what
bit like-
ocean is Bikini Bottom in?
The exact address is Epstein's Island, word for word. 124.
Yeah,
Conch.
124,
Yeah, no, I
whatever
saw
it is.
that.
Conch Street, Bikini
Yeah.
But
Bottom.
where is theoretically Bikini Bottom in the ocean?
Are you talking about in the cartoon fictitious world?
Right.
It's in your mind.
Is it?
Are you saying that you
We're
want to
talking
find
about right
SpongeBob at Epstein's Island?
What is
Shit,
it you're
you don't
referring
know.
to?
We got to crack this case somehow.
I think it's the perfect ploy. It's like they get these kids on the playground. It's like, hey, you like SpongeBob, right? Hey, well,
Are you ready,
we're going to
kids?
Bikini Bottom. I can guarantee you. Look, here's Google Maps.
I can hear you. I Epstein. Oh.
Oh, dude.
We
You
want
gotta
to
do a
come to
knock off.
Island and get in the cave.
Ooh, touches the children under the
Jeffrey
sea.
Epstein.
Jeffrey, yeah.
Unreal.
Because you know all those kids end up being Krabby Birders at the out of the island. You know, they're all fish food at the end.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't
remember
even
that.
look that up because I saw everybody was posting
That's
that,
going
That's what it
deep.
is.
and I was just
Krabby
like, you know
Patties
what?
taste good because they have adrenochrome in them.
But again, if you want to go back to adrenochrome, let's go back to that. What is it about adrenaline-filled?
It only exists in very small children because it's
Well, there's an age apparently. There's a gap.
Yeah.
It's like to 12 years old or something.
because it's a necessary hormonal adjunct that increases. It's basically like the
Yeah.
thing necessary. It's the seed,
I understand the
the
release
seed
of
aspect
adrenaline.
of what you need to grow into a full, large being. And there's a lot. It's like a stem cell. It's a stem cell producing.
Is that factual? You just you trying to? It's your blood is filled with adrenaline. They take blood and consume blood. What is then the beneficial purpose in their mind, or maybe scientifically, of consuming adrenaline-filled juvenile blood?
I didn't know anything about the adrenaline-filled blood.
That's I understand adrenochrome to be. Is they scare the shit out of little children and rape them, murder them, make them freak out. Their adrenal glands release an abundance of adrenaline, and they consume that blood, and they trip balls. And it has some people say it has a similar effect to dimethyltryptamine, or some people say that it fills you full of energy and it keeps you young. The main point is, why do they do that, and what is the effect of consuming this adrenochrome?
That's more I've heard about it than
So
ever
that-
before.
I mean, you seem to have some pretty good inside
Yeah.
information here.
And
Well, I like
You want
to
to
come into
how-
a conversation with facts or so just like anecdotes.
a
rather than just
conversation you
repeating
knew
things
nothing
and coming up
about,
with nonsense.
and yet
Oh,
showed up
interesting.
for.
Son
You
of
do,
D
Preston.
here.
This is just the
Studies it all
coincidences.
day.
There are no coincidences.
Yeah, but the point is that everyone talks about it. These pedophiles are taking their adrenochrome. But the point is, none of us have had it to know the effects. But we know why we smoke weed. We know why we drink beer. We know why we do X, Y, Z. We don't know why they're doing that. So until we meet someone who's done it and can tell you the experience of it, or we know for sure what the scientific benefits of it are, it's all conjecture.
So you want to meet
theorized.
someone who's murdered children to harvest their brain?
No, I'm not saying I want to meet someone. That's,
But you're going
that's
to
not
take
what I'm
their
saying.
word
What I'm
for
saying
it.
is that if there's someone who comes forward and admits to it, like your man who just admitted to murdering shitloads of people in California, the old dude went to jail. your old boy, if someone who the guilt, you know what I'm talking about? What's his name?
The Golden State Killer.
Thank you, Golden State Killer.
Mm-hmm.
If until someone steps forward and said, I did this shit and I want it to end and I want to repent and save my soul by coming forward and talking about it, until this fact, like someone comes forward and said, I did this and gives up names and everything, then we don't know what it is. So it's still theorized. Again, like as I said at the beginning, it's a theory that I would subscribe to, but unless you met someone who's done it or knows what the feeling is of it or the purpose for it, then it's still just, it might not be. Right?
Well, I imagine, and I haven't studied it that much, but it's like energy vampirism. It's to get total and absolute domination, control over someone, having an absolute fear. They trusted you. You brought them into the space.
They have that anyway. These people run everything. They
Well, like
already
I
have
said,
that
it's a
fulfillment of-
rejuvenating part of it. Like it's a life extension technology.
Yeah, but
How?
It's
What does
never
the
enough.
blood? What does the
I don't know.
adrenaline-filled blood physically do to the body, or does it slow down the aging process? Does it enrich your hemoglobin in your blood? Like, what does it do that they need to take it? That's the point that you can't find any information about. Is it the big secret, or like what is that? The youth? Is that the
Fountain of Youth?
Eau de vie? Is that the elixir of life? Is that the fountain of youth? Is that really what it is?
If
The
this
fountain
stuff
of
is so
youth.
critical, and it's used by pretty much every single powerful individual in the world, I mean, they can't make it
Allegedly.
synthetically.
Again, there's that. That's the point. Everyone's talking about the paedophilia and the murder and the rape and the death because it's the worst thing. It's the worst thing you can put on someone. It is the worst thing you can accuse someone of. But no one's got to the point of what does the thing do? What is the purpose? Why would they do that? Everyone in this room's taken drugs before. They know the effect, and everyone's been told you're going to smoke this thing and you're going to feel this, or you're going to drink that and you're going to do that. Like I said, it's the purpose. What is the purpose?
Well, I don't know that no one's ever come forward or there is no evidence about it. Like I said, I haven't looked into it too much.
But no one does. No conspiracy thing. No open your third eye online, whatever, .com/beer, .brand.thirdeye.com.
Oh,
Nothing gives you any inkling as to why these people are doing it. What's the purpose for it? So why are we even discussing? Why is it even a conversation? Why is it such a mainstream thing? Because it's the biggest thing you can accuse someone of. It can. More people are paying attention to the Epstein and the paedophilia and everything than they are the fact that the Pentagon have just released the fact that those crafts have come from another planet. Yeah, they're from another world. It's like B News today. It's like Beeline News. In other news, the Pentagon just admitted that crafts have visited this planet from another
you guys
place.
see the picture of that alien cube in front of the planet NASA took a photo of?
Number one, I don't trust NASA. Number two, I don't
Correct.
trust my own government.
Correct.
So they could tell me the aliens were right here in front of my apartment, and I still wouldn't believe it.
You want to go outside?
I'd go outside, but
Well, Joe Rogan,
I go have a look.
I
Joe
go have a
Rogan
look.
posted that same thing where he said he released what the Pentagon says these crafts didn't come from Earth, and then I said, oh, so they came from the moon base.
right.
It's like, oh, they were off world.
Just because you're not familiar with the technology doesn't mean it came from another planet.
yeah,
Right?
Or it came from the moon, which is just the next moon. It's not from this planet.
What about that other black book
Is it like an
government-funded project that
Iron Sky scenario?
you don't have clearance for?
Right.
But 10 other people do, and they're watching and go, they think it's from space.
This
It's
is
actually
like-
it's actually from floor 7. We're on floor 3.
Right.
It's on the 7th floor. Those guys are what? Oh, those guys have got a $70 billion budget. We've only got a 70 million. They've got
Right.
70 billion. Yeah, you know
Oh,
what I
I
mean?
totally agree. I mean, the government lies completely about everything, all the technologies that they have, and they're just laughing all the way to the bank. First of all, they couldn't tell you even if they wanted to. Like, the technology that is really in use by the deep state is so far, it would seem like complete pure magic. And they can't let us know, so they're releasing it bit by bit by
Well,
bit by
I mean,
bit.
it is true to a bit. I mean, what Ronald Reagan declassified the use of GPS, the global satellite positioning
Well, they had that
system,
way before.
and that was in use for decades
Yeah,
before he
way
declassified
before.
it. And at that time, it was revolutionary, considering pocket watch today, not an iWatch, but just like a normal time-telling pocket watch was way more powerful than every single computer in existence 50 years ago.
Mhm.
You have that, and then you figure out today. Like, I was watching History Channel, Discovery Channel 20 years ago, and they said they had this drone 20 years ago that could take a live feed 6 square mile radius and face scan every single individual, every single car, every single open door, cat, bird, tree, anything that moves on different spectrums of light as well as movement simultaneously, and decode it into a live feed. So if you want to track that one car and it had backward and forward video and relays, and you want to know where that car's been in the past 3 days, you know instantly.
And when was this?
In the past,
Like 20 years ago.
3 days.
Yeah, so if you have a drone flying over a specific area that you want to monitor for 3 days, it can take
Oh, it
all
takes
that
all
data.
the data from there and
Mhm.
finds it from there. And
Mhm.
right. So it's just a big map, and it's
Right.
finding things on the big map, like a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
this
like,
car,
it's like
that's
an
a
open
person
world
of
video game.
interest
Right.
that should be in connection with this car, but you don't know it. It
Yeah,
could have
yeah,
been there
yeah.
3 days ago, and then 6 hours ago, the other person of interest was
That's-
there. Then you have the connection, and then they have both. of them.
That's the premise for the movie Minority Report.
It's like
And if they really had stuff like that, which they may not. I don't know about the whole 3 people that they plugged into that can see the future and the past simultaneously. That's a little bit too much. Maybe not. But
It's just a hive mind situation. It's where
Mhm.
they're functioning as supercomputers.
yeah, the camera is the
Yeah.
eye is the camera, and the
well, it's like
constant
modern day
recording.
China right now. Every single micro piece of data that goes through certain cities, not every city, but certain cities in China, is completely gone through an AI hive mind. It's
Yeah.
all sorted data, and you have your score, and everything else goes through
Yeah,
there.
it's. I had it.
They
Did we
track
talk
where
about
you
this?
are.
We had to have it when I went to Singapore. It's the
Mhm.
same app, and you have to. If you want to Uber, if you want to get food delivery, you want to send somebody money, if you want to rent an electric scooter, if you want to make dinner reservations, anything you want to do in the city is all done by this one app. I've probably still got it in my phone, but it was different from in Singapore than it was from mainland China. In Singapore, you don't have a social score and a rating. In China, you do. And if you fall below a certain point, if you don't pay your bills on time, whatever, you lose points. If you do this, it's like a video game. If you fall below a certain number, you can't fucking do anything. You can't watch a movie, you can't get on a train, you're just
Mhm.
86. And that's what it's nuts.
Oh, I know.
It's nuts.
And you go to jail.
But,
They're trying to implement it here.
nah, I don't think they are.
Trying to.
I really don't think they are. I really don't think they are. I think China for America it's a different planet. America doesn't. I genuinely don't think that the ruling class or the elitists of America or England or the wherever, the fucking top table, whoever they are, I don't think they want completely subservient robots. I disagree with the theory behind of that, because then you lose art, you lose free thinking, you lose people with the ability and the power to have free minds to think in order to create things that would make their situations better. Evolution of whatever systems they want to put in place, it will never be done. There will always be constant evolution of it. Things will always change and grow and be better and different.
Better and different.
For them.
It doesn't all. I mean, just
For
because it's
them.
different doesn't mean it's better.
No, for them. They want things that are better and different from them, and they control how that happens, right?
Allegedly.
For them. No, for them. If they want things to be better for them, not society, for them.
Oh, okay.
For them. They need smarter people than them. In order to have smarter people than them, they need to allow those people to grow up and become who they need to be to become smarter. Like all the top people who work in tech in fucking San Jose. If we were in a completely robot-controlled, subservient, society, you destroy all art. You destroy the kid who's the world-leading code guy who works for Google, or he grew up in X country and then went traveling to Y and Z and saw the rest of the world, which influenced into da-da-da-da. You'd remove art. So you remove someone naturally coming up with these world-changing processes. If you just, like the movie Equilibrium, you make everyone just fucking marching soldiers, then you reach a point, you just reach a peak
Yeah.
of humanity, and that's not what they want. They want constant, as far as we know, they want a constant evolution for wherever it is they want to go. Whenever they reach that place, they'll be comfortable with that place, and then they'll want to continue to another place, right? And
No,
if you have-
not right.
No?
No,
You don't think so?
because these elites that you're talking about were considered gods, kings and queens. They were demigods, and they had the adoration
Oh.
and total control over their populations, and they want that again. And they just let the people think they were free, so they would do exactly what you said, create all this technology, all these wonderful things, and they're getting closer and closer to the time where they have everything they want. They have all the technologies.
How do they know that? How do you know you have everything they want?
Because what they really want is power.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, and once
How
they,
much necessity
Yeah, but you-
can we go through? The human body and the human brain, right, can only achieve to a certain point. And we've seen it over the past thousands of years, right? There's certain limits that are imposed on us biologically, right?
Well, yes and no. I mean, that's what we always say. Then we always have new record-breaking
people always
limits.
push
There's
it.
always
Yeah, I
new
disagree
world
with that.
records. There's faster people, higher jumpers,
He's
stronger,
right.
Because of
longer
technology.
swimmers.
We got to look at
Yes and no.
bro. You look at David Blaine. I mean, it's David Blaine. I'm bringing up a weird thing here, but did you see that? Yeah. I'm gonna get there. Let me get there first.
Oh, with the breath holding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
that
he
causes
knows.
brain damage.
Whatever. He knows what I'm talking about. Like the world record for holding your breath in submerged water was something like I'm paraphrasing completely, but it was like 4 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll fuck with that. And he studied and trained for like 3 years at home in a bathtub, nearly drowned himself 10 times, and he pushed it to like 14 minutes or something. And every doctor, no one fucking told him he could do it. He was even trying to figure out how to cheat, like as a magician, and put like something down his esophagus, a breathing apparatus. He tried everything to do it, and in the end, he just trained his body physically to hold his breath longer than fucking anyone has been able to do that ever.
So you think that the humans are getting stronger in general?
No, I
faster?
think that we are not in a place where we're allowed to get to that. We don't allow ourselves. Well, the world is, when you get with someone like David Blaine who just focuses on trying to be better, and you've got millions of dollars and you can sit wherever you want and do whatever you want. You can get to a place. Most of the people live in this fucking county. When you're super rich and you're like, right, what do I want to do? I want to buy this cars or those boats or whatever. If you remove the materialism, I reckon a lot of people would use their time to better themselves. I mean, you just look at like any of the world's strongest men or anything like that, but remove like using steroids.
Like communists.
Humanists, yeah, I guess.
No,
so.
communists.
Oh, communists.
Remove
Like communists.
Yeah, remove the materialism and then they'll become super people? Because that works out so well in communism.
No, there's a lot of other things involved.
Communism
there's a
never
lot,
works.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things involved in communism that stop that from happening. But in some sort of potentially peaceful utopia society, where we don't know how far the human body can be pushed, because it's just a vessel, right? The mind is stronger than the body. That's been proven multiple times.
Right. Then when we go into the concept of the mind itself, realistically, what is it? I mean, that's just the concept of what is conscious being in general.
Right.
I showed Alex for the first time that Love, Death, and Robot skit. The thing that always trips me out the most is Zima Blue. It's a man. Everybody thought it was a man who became a machine, but he was a machine that became a man. Captivated the whole human consciousness of the entire multi-star system and everything through art, right? But he finally revealed at the end, through hundreds of years, that no, he's just a little robot that started out scrubbing pool tiles, and then he continued to evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve until nobody ever even thought of the fact that he could have never been a person in the first place, right? So I mean, realistically, what is consciousness? Like the movie Ex Machina.
Probably not that.
Probably not that.
Maybe.
That movie sucked.
I mean, the guy that died at the end, I mean, was he a robot? Was
Spoiler
he
alert.
not?
Sorry if listeners, you just ruined the whole
The movie came out like 8 years ago. If you haven't seen it by now, you're probably not going to see it.
Spoiler alert, dude.
Spoilers done.
Yeah, Bruce Willis was dead the whole time. I mean, what else do you want?
Wow.
Wow.
Unreal, dude.
Big spoilers.
So, anyway, getting back to the point is that we were saying necessity is a mother of invention. Necessity can end. There is a roof, right?
Yeah.
You said 1,000 years,
100%.
You think there is a roof?
And there's going to be a limit to what the usefulness of people doing things for them will be. And you've already seen it. The usefulness of the people that you're going to be using as tools, right? So you're using people as
Slaves.
tools to do bidding.
Master and slave, right?
Right.
Do they need 8 billion people
No,
to create this art and this technology that you need? Or can they just wipe out 90% of them, re-educate?
the more people you have, the greater pool you have for the things that you need. Right?
Or less.
Maybe you need less that have a lot more advantage, have a lot more access to technology, to information, to free time, like you said. If you have 1 billion people that have access to the entire planet, all its resources, instead of 7-8 billion that are struggling, that are competing, they're doing all these things. But still, they're doing imagine all these bunkers, like you said, level 7, level 3, about, oh, you think you know the technology. It's like, it's just social experiments, level after level after level after level after level, and they figured out what makes people the most creative, what makes people the most dynamic. They know. They have all these things they're writing down.
They know what makes people the most creative.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that
I don't
just goes
think I
back
could.
to
I
Plato's
think that's
allegory of the
bollocks.
cave.
Hang on.
Realistically.
Let's pump the brakes on that one. What makes people creative is self-learning, self-exploration.
So you need a certain number of humanity to reach.
No. I'm saying they know. You said they know what makes people creative. I don't know.
You saying you know what makes people creative. So
No,
why
I'm
can't they?
No, you said they know what makes people creative.
Yeah, and then you said no, and then you
no,
said,
I don't
and then you
think they
told
do.
me what makes people
I don't
creative.
think they do know what's people creative because certain things it's like life experience equals your creativity, right? Or studying.
So you don't think that they can know that? They can build spaceships, they can do all this shit, but they can't figure out what you
They
just
don't
said.
build spaceships. They find the people that can do it. Is my point. They don't do shit. They pay to find the people to make the shit that they want. They don't do nothing. They get people. If you make everyone a robot and the same, there will be no more they creatively do what
we started
they
this
want.
conversation about the credit score of China, and I said they're trying to implement that here, and then you said they'll never do that here. America and China are completely different things. What I meant was they're trying to track what you do in the same model as maybe just put it in a consumerism standpoint, so they know everything that you're going to buy before you're going to buy it.
They just don't tell you.
They just don't tell you. Why would they? And
I mean, we already have credit scores.
Yeah, we already have credit
credit
scores.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't understand why you said it was not possible. You went into this whole.
But it was different.
I mean, it's
no, it was
already here.
different. No, hang on. Having a regular credit score now means you can't do certain things with bank accounts, can't have a house, can't have money. It doesn't stop you from getting on a train. It doesn't stop your freedom to move. It doesn't stop your freedom to go and purchase food.
Unless you're not wearing a mask.
Oh, hang on a minute. One thing to the other. There's one extreme.
Why?
To the other.
It's a
We're
socialized
talking
system.
about credit score. Let's just stay with.
We're talking about a system
You can't just
of
add in a
control.
fucking another spice to the mix. We're
Sure, I
staying with the
can.
pot.
It's my podcast, and I will do exactly as I please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Freedom
This
in
is
America.
America.
Freedom
Yeah.
of speech.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And I would go back, and I will change gears back to reverse and go backwards and say that a credit score that you have now doesn't stop you from from getting a taxi. In China, under their system, if you're below a number, you can't get a taxi.
Right.
Do you think that's likely to happen in America?
I think
Well,
eventually.
it won't happen. You guys won't let that happen because, as Preston always says, Second Amendment. You guys have enough guns. There's enough of this freedom that you guys talk about so much that, as a people, you guys, it's in your head. I'm freedom. You can't do that to me. Fuck you. And you guys will revolt against that. China has never been told they are free. They know they are slaves. Very different. It's a different paradigm. China, they've grown up and they learned we are slaves in a system. There ain't shit we can do. Here, you guys are told you can do anything. You're literally told as a child you can be the president of the United States. You can go and do anything you want. Go there and go get it, Jimmy.
Not these days.
Listen, pal. All you got to do is talk to him for 5 minutes and you'll find out why this is America, buddy. You can do what you want. You can do what you want here. I'm from a country where you're told as a child,
brother.
you're going to be nothing, you're going to be no one, the food sucks, the weather sucks, life is shit, you're not from an elitist, royalist class society, you're born in this part of London, or this part of England, and it's shit, and the weather's shit, and life is shit, and everything's shit, but here's a fucking warm pint of shit beer, and it's a shit sports on the TV, and shit fucking La La Land that everyone lives in England and thinks everything's
I hear people talking about
agreed.
that here all the time.
Right, but the difference is you guys are growing up here with, this is America, this is free, you guys have a day, you pledge allegiance to the flag of the freedom every day.
No, we can't.
No, we
do
can't do that now.
Oh, you can't pledge allegiance
No.
anymore?
No,
Oh
that's
yeah,
illegal.
that thing changed.
That's racist.
Right, okay, fine.
I
But
think
the point
the
is
points
that
you're making
this-
are not valid.
You don't think they're valid? What I just
They're
said was
not
factual.
valid.
What I just said was factual.
Now it's a bird.
From my-
No, it's not factual because
About what? The way you're brought up in England, telling them you're
no,
nothing, and the
you're
slave,
saying
they
in
know they're-
America that's how it is and that's how it'll always be. It's changing.
No, I'm
the
saying that you
communism, the Bolshevik revolutionary style
Right.
way, they're warping people's minds.
At the
This
point
is happening
where
and it's
people are
creasing and it's
at the
creasing and it's
point right
creasing.
now
and
where
it's creasing.
people are awakening more and things are
a
actually
minute
starting to
helps.
happen, is the same time where maybe you guys are the last generation to have this allowed to have this free thinking. You're allowed to pledge allegiance, but it instills many generational people, lots of people here, who believe they have freedom. They believe in the flag. The one thing that unifies Americans more than anything else, arguably, unless you don't believe in fucking flags and symbols, is the flag, right? Even racist people, Trump people, anti-Trumpy people, everybody will come around. You come around the flag, the symbol of your country, which stands for freedom, the bald eagle, the whole fucking thing. You guys have been instilled in your society that there is a level of freedom, which is why people fucking flock here in millions to try and live here, because you're supposed to be free here.
True.
People in China know from the second they fucking wake up, wake up consciously, I mean from the second they wake up in the morning, that they are fucking slaves in a system building an iPhone for those fucking people over there who are free. Same with people in Mexico who are picking fucking strawberries or whatever. Fuck, I wish I could live up, I wish I could fucking live over there and go whatever.
Well, I will say,
Everyone wants to come here for freedom.
Built a boat in Florida out of used car parts to go to Cuba.
Respectfully, my friend, have you ever lived in a different country?
Yes,
How long?
several years.
I don't remember. Yeah, right. You've been around, so you've seen what it is. I don't remember what your story is. So you've seen what it is, and you've come back to America and seen the freedoms that you guys have here.
Yeah. My point is that you're saying like it's an impossibility for that to happen. You're saying it'll never happen, which I admire that.
I don't think it will.
Yeah.
It's
I don't think it
happening.
will.
It's happening.
Yeah, but at the same
And if
time,
people
as it's
say-
happening at the same time, other shit's happening. You have different fucking movements. We're sitting here having this conversation.
Yeah.
Things are happening to counter that. Things happen. Everything happens yin and yang, black and white, up and down, left and right, good and evil. Everything happens in pairs.
And the
Everything has
important
be
thing is to be
balanced.
aware of that and to not say that it can't happen, to mobilize. Like, that's why I'm having this conversation with Phil, is because I want to talk about these things that are very
It
important.
can for sure happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
we're
can for
seeing this
sure happen.
crumbling of the American dream. It's crumbling right now. I mean, just turn on your television, any channel. It doesn't matter if it's Fox, CNN, whatever you turn on, you're going to see people agitated. Doesn't even matter what city it is. People
Well,
are
it's
upset.
negative.
And it's all
24/7.
negative.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all burning flags.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
destroying property. It's all spray painting. And really, how do you sift through this? I mean, you're sometimes, if I watch TV with my dad, and you'll see the same clip 20 or 30 times. And I'm like, why do you not have any more footage? You guys got all these cameras, you got all these reporters, you got all these places you go to, right? Show some other footage.
But they don't want to do that because it's
No.
television, because you weren't there, so they
Right.
want to program you to their
Oh,
narrative.
well, this is
That's
what it
why it's
was.
called-
This is what it was.
Right, television programming, television. We know that.
And it's this constant self-flagellating system of, oh, well, the American dream never existed. It doesn't exist now. It's just all this almost, not necessarily revisionist history, but it's this highly skewed portrait that people are trying to point out now. It's that who is really benefiting from having people so on edge? I mean, that's what I'm seeing. I don't see anybody. When I was just downstairs earlier, they're looking at me like I'm crazy because I have my sunglasses on but no mask, or I'm just out there. I was waiting for the UPS guy. People just, and they walk around you, and they're already 6 or more feet away from me. I mean, we're talking like people were going into where the cars would park.
I mean, you already know who's benefiting. I mean, we have fear mongering. Stay inside. Don't go out. Don't do this. Don't go here. Don't go see the world. Don't educate yourself. Don't do anything. Just go inside. Order everything off Amazon. And we know exactly who's benefiting.
Yeah, Bezos' fortune has gone up.
Didn't he
like
just have like $1 million or
$400
$1 billion
billion
day? I think there was just one day he had like, I don't know how much it was. It was
He's
some kind of
doubled his
millions.
net
It was
worth
billions.
in the past 3 months. And it's not like, oh, I had like $100 in my pocket, now I got 200. Great. No, he went from like
Why is
already
this-
being the
why
world's
is-
richest man to being double the world's richest man
Why is that
in
surprising?
3 months.
It's not surprising.
It's not surprising.
But it's a changing tide. You can't say that the America that we're experiencing right now is the same America from 2 years ago, even.
Right.
And 40% of small businesses will never open again, at least.
That's a low number,
That's
a
a
very
low
low
number.
number. I mean, we're looking at right now this America that we're currently living in. What really even is it? Before you could pin it, okay, it's Coca-Cola, white T-shirts and blue jeans and cool cars. Okay, whatever. It's some kind of trope, right?
miss the
But
cars.
but it's easy. It's okay. I can look at 1950s America and I can pinpoint that. Show me something from 2020 America. It's just a bunch of guys wearing masks and being pissed off.
Yep.
What is the real cultural significance of what we're going through?
People are fearing for their lives so much that
The
they're willing to
cultural
throw away
standard.
all their
It's
freedoms.
a massive fucking thing. What is the real cultural significance of it?
What is the American culture is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that the things that are happening now have no cultural significance,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but what is the American culture? You look at the 60s, you have entire movements happening in the 60s. You have this entire cohesive front, right? This drug culture.
The culture is cancel
Counterculture.
culture. It's counterculture. It's trying to break from the mold of what has been and trying to create something new.
Right. But
And
I
in
mean,
changing times,
did anything actually happen?
we're in very early. Listen, bro. Like Phil's been saying for the last couple of months,
We're 20 minutes in.
20 minutes into the trip. We haven't even fucking started yet. It hasn't even started yet because surely the most important thing is, which is everyone's paying attention to, but also kind of not at the same time, which is very interesting. There's only so much information people can deal with a day in terms of news or numbers or viruses, and there's a bunch of news that people read, and there's only so much you can take away from it a day. You can't retain all of it and let it affect all of you. You just can't. Because you've got bills to pay and kids and shit to drive and whatever. Your brain doesn't work like that. But the presidential election is the most fucking entertaining, obscure, fucking backwards thing that is happening
Yeah.
ever. It's fucking mental.
This one is particularly bad. I do agree with Alex on that one. I mean, this particular...
Insanely
It's
bad.
fucking mental.
Insanely bad.
One of your candidates can't talk in front of the press. Why? Because he can't. Why? Because he can't. But on the other side of the camera, there's like fucking 50 people with read the fucking sign. Read the sign. Oh, my legs are hairy. Sorry, I told you.
The kids in the pool, I
good.
told them to touch my hairy legs.
My legs.
The sun get hot. I got hair
And they
legs.
float to the top, and that's what we're trying to do, float to the other.
And if you ain't voting for me, Oh my God!
How do you get away
Ladies
with
in
that?
black.
Then
How do you get
in
away with
black.
it? How do you get away with that?
How?
Someone tell me how you got away with that.
How?
When like 2 weeks before that,
Because he's Democrat, which means he's
nah,
Jesus.
2 weeks before that, Rogan was talking to, or like maybe a couple months. Joe Rogan was talking to Robert Downey Jr. about blackface from Tropic Thunder, and he was like, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I don't know how I got away with that. What the fuck? If he did that now, it would be the end of the world. But Biden, because it's not Trump, and like, in the middle of the whole Black Lives Matter, the whole African American,
It's the blue wave, dude. The
change.
blue waves they subsided. They said, "Look, you're good. Just go ahead, swim.
Just keep going, bro.
Just keep doing it."
What happened with that? No, that white boy's a little crazy. Just whatever. Just let him. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. What the fuck?
That was the best one that they could run. Period.
What the fuck, bro? But that didn't come from a sign. That
There's
came from him,
There's
right?
a third choice. We're neglecting.
No, I didn't.
Kanye.
No. It's my say. I'm gonna jump in with this and I'll shut the
Easy?
fuck up for a minute. All I'm gonna say about Kanye is that Kanye seems to me such an easy play. Like, obviously, he's in cahoots with Trump. He wore a hat. He just called him up and went, Kanye, time to be crazy. It's time to fucking do what we talked about, or whatever. Pull the trigger, open the brown envelope. These are your commands. Your mission if you choose to accept it.
Operation Kanye.
Operation Yeet.
Operation Y?
Yay.
Yay. Yeah, whatever.
Yay.
Yay. Whatever. So, he's obviously trying to just... It must be the black vote. It's just the black vote. Because Trump won't get the black vote.
You really think so?
Trump won't get the black vote, obviously. He's not...
Obviously, how?
Trump, he has black people in the Republican Party, black people voting for him, but as the majority, as the African American society in this country, are not voting for Donald Trump, bro. They're just not.
I disagree.
They're not.
You don't think it's split? I mean, what's your skew? What is it?
No,
60?
not since the cop put his knee on that guy's neck. Not since George Floyd. Not since the Black Lives Matter was painted out front of the White House. Since then, no. The whole defund the police thing's making things a little bit fucking up and down, a bit sticky, because people are being swayed all the time. But no, he's a racist. He's red. It's Trump. People don't fucking like him. It's not.
Well, it's the same clip being played 20 times a day.
Right.
Black people won't, as a majority, as a race, black people,
Well,
the
I think the
majority
biggest-
won't vote for him.
the
So
biggest part of
hang on
this-
one second, so they don't vote for Biden, so they'll automatically vote for Biden. So what's Trump's easy play? I'm going to fucking take the black vote away from Biden to lower his numbers, because I'm not doing so well in the polls. How do you do that? You put fucking Kanye and try and redirect the black vote to Kanye, because Kanye won't win, but he'll waste the black vote, and neither of them will get it. It'll be about the white people, and the white people...
The same way everybody said Trump couldn't win.
Exactly. We don't know shit. He won.
Hey,
he won.
and
We were like 4
and
years ago.
guess
You were
what?
sitting there going, "Never going to happen. He can't win. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. It's not going to happen in this society, in this day
If
and
you
age."
think
Trump won't
about
win.
it,
He already
guess what?
won.
Doesn't matter who wins. Each side is going to contest it to death. It's all going to go to court. If there's going to be blood in the streets, no matter who wins or
Right.
doesn't win.
Yep.
It's going to be a shit show like you've
Guaranteed.
never seen.
Blood in the streets. Yeah, I've been waiting.
There's already
for.
blood in the streets.
Yeah, no. The real big one comes when the
Chauvin.
No. That wasn't it. The big one comes when in somewhere like Georgia or somewhere like Georgia most likely, in an open carry state where they can fucking they can march with all the weapons.
They're already doing that. There's
Yeah.
an all-black
But-
militia of
but
1,000 men.
But when those 1,000 black guys who are Black Lives Matter with guns and 1,000 white guys who are fucking rednecks with guns meet at the fucking middle of the street, that's when it fucking goes down. It's just evident. People can only march with the little sticks like Frankenstein for so long until they go out on the street in a militia fashion with their weapons, and eventually it will
Shot heard
happen.
around the world.
It will
2.0.
happen, and fucking 2,000 people are
Not
gonna
Lexington.
fucking open that. Blah! It's gonna be like Gaza Strip in fucking 4th Avenue, wherever fuck Georgia. Yeah,
Not
dude.
4th Avenue, Georgia.
Somewhere.
Well, I think one of the
Somewhere-
biggest movements
yeah, dude,
trying to
go
degrade
down.
human society, especially U.S. society, is the continuous deterioration of self-sufficiency. An individual can't exist on its own. It needs to be part of a group. It needs to be part of something bigger. It needs to be part of this thing. Self-sufficiency can't exist. You can't go to a ranch and
Not
teach
possible.
your kids. You can't live off the grid. You can't make your own power. You can't make your own
Yeah.
water. That's not a
That's not a viable
sustainable
option.
living environment. The child protective services need to get called in. Even though that's how people have been existing, and most of the fucking world exists like that for the majority of the life.
The
that
whole
we've-
animals cannot
all-
and have never existed outside of zoos.
Yeah.
They cannot live outside of a zoo.
And I
Neither
see
can
it-
humans.
I
They
see
have
this
to be
all the time.
controlled.
It's the throwaway culture. It's not the cancel culture. It's the throwaway culture. Oh, my phone's bad. 2 years. Boom. shit, 20, 30 years ago, if you bought, a tool, a car, basically anything, and it didn't last pretty much your entire life, you would never buy it. It wouldn't exist. And now you have these abhorrently expensive devices and machines, and even new stuff that's supposed to be great, it just goes away almost instantly.
Even your phone, almost blew up a week ago?
Yeah. It was literally going to blow up, and they're like, I don't know what we can do about it. Sorry. It's like, you fix it.
Should have let it blow up and sued it for fucking 10 million.
Yeah.
Quid.
It would have made your leg a bit red, but no one would have noticed.
Probably. Well, it had another red spot right here.
Yeah,
But,
it
it should have.
Boom, let it blow
the
up. Fuck it.
continuous deterioration of self-reliance. That's why they don't have shop in high schools. They don't have mechanic. I mean, it used to be mandatory.
That's true. What was
They
the other
want
one?
people
What's
to
the other
be
one
weak
called?
and
Home ec,
helpless so
You
they
guys
can be
called it
controlled. The nanny state.
Home ec.
Home ec.
Yeah, nobody can cook
Woodwork,
anymore. Nobody
yeah.
can fix anything. Nobody knows how to use a saw. People walk into Home Depot
He's
like,
right.
oh my God, what's all this stuff?
He's right.
It's not done for me. People have a hard time with IKEA. And it's literally step-by-step instructions. You need a screwdriver and maybe a hammer.
A single tool.
Sometimes they come with little screwdrivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they still go and pay people some. I know people in town will pay you like $60 an hour to assemble IKEA furniture.
Yeah, there's an app in England. There's an app
Yeah.
in London where
Yeah.
if you need something flat pack put together, someone will come round and it's like £20 an hour.
Yeah.
And then it's like a flat fee of $100. I'm in the wrong fucking game. That's a badass game.
Yeah.
Put your headphones on. It's gonna take me 2 hours to build this fucking thing when you know you can do it in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a great hustle.
So what do you think the biggest problem in the world is?
The biggest problem in the world?
Not enough music.
All right, let's whittle it down. For America.
For
Preston
America?
thinks it's the loss
It's
of
division. The biggest problem is division, period, over and
Everywhere.
out. I mean, maybe it's a world issue, maybe it's just American issue, but for sure, it's just people being divided. Everybody wants to believe what they want to believe. They have their own sets of internal biases. Even if you were to show them the truth, even if we were to peel off the mask and Scooby-Doo time and we just freaking admit this is the dude that's causing the problems, this is the issue, you're really the issue, wherever the rhetorical you is, right? If we really were able to say, this is what's fucking up our ecosystems, this is what's fucking up our economy, this is what's doing this, and then you have like, I don't know, 50 different reasons of why shit's fucked up, quote unquote. The whole thing. Okay, so now we whittled it all down. Oh, well, I don't believe that. Now you have to have this whole problem of burden of proof. Okay, well, who's giving you the information now? Because we can't turn on our TV and get real information. We can't even go on our phone and get real information. So why would I trust any other person, right? So now there's this lack of trust, right? So even interpersonally between people, oh, well, that's what so-and-so said, or that's what so-and-so said. There's this huge divide between people, and it's all stemming from the fact that people can't really effectively communicate with each other. I feel like this lack of communication, there's a lack of real critical thinking, there's a lack of any thinking, let alone critical. Critical is even harder than just normal thinking. Most people have never been creative, they've never been critical, they've never actually sat down and had an original thought of their own. So now all of a sudden you want them to figure it out on the fly?
right.
The entire education system from when you were 5 years old or 4 years old, whatever, when you start, to when you go, let's say they just finish high school, they get a couple years of college, whatever it is. The entire time, all you're doing is learning a method of how they want you to learn something.
Yep.
You're learning their method of how to learn things.
What to think, not how to think.
Indoctrination, That's been happening since
And I will
forever.
say that too, because it goes all the way back to my diving days. I went up and I spent a lot of time, energy, effort, thousands and thousands of hours, and then I went to go be an instructor, and I was all excited. Oh, I'm gonna learn the secrets of the trade. I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna learn that. And then all it was a multi-week-long course about how to teach how they want you to teach. That was it. There's no new information. There's no new secrets.
Yeah.
There's no new anything. It was just teach how we want you to teach. And if you don't do it, you're not going to do this anymore. It did make some sense because their method was tried and true and proven. And they knew it worked over 50 years and the multiple millions of hours of experience. Millions of hour experience they put in there. So it did make some sense. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, what if this person found out that this particular way of teaching works better for this specific environment? Because you can't teach the same way in the Bahamas as you do in Monterey.
Yeah, it's very true. Well, it might be a little different since you're like coming from a specific school. So, you know what I mean? Like you learn PADI, so it's like a trademarked type of learning, which I think is what the public education system is trademarked. You will get a certain amount of people who are good at working the machines.
It's a
You know,
system.
it's a system.
And just because a system exists doesn't mean that it exists at the height of efficiency.
Right.
Right? So for maybe 70% of people, it really, really works well. And you see some people that can really go through it and excel. You see some people that go through it and they can't.
Well, I mean, it always gets back to the point, especially when I was teaching, I taught a lot of older people, and they said, okay, well, what if this happens? I said, well, you're the only one out there. You're literally in the middle of the ocean. Like, I don't want to tell you, you're 40 feet under the water. Nobody's going to know where you are except for a couple little bubbles on the surface. You got to figure it out. And that's why you go through the training and everything. And a lot of young people are like, what? Like, don't they make like a GPS panic button that I can get and go back to the boat? I'm like, no, that doesn't exist. And people got freaked out by it.
That's because, what's that saying that?
It's the deterioration of self-reliance.
Well, there's that saying. There's this, unfortunately, to bring it back fucking Joe Rogan, but there's that saying that he was repeating for a while, which was like, it's one of the most powerful things I've ever heard in my life. I'm going to paraphrase, I'm probably going to get it wrong. Which was, you'll know as soon as I say it, was it fucking good, hard times build hard men, soft times make weak men, that whole thing,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the most powerful fucking things I've ever heard. And right now, it's
It's hard times build strong men. Strong men build good times. Good times create weak men. And weak men create hard times.
Right. That's it.
There you go.
Right. And we are, and it hasn't been good times of recent, but things but if you look at from like, because I'm going to open a whole nother fucking massive fucking door here.
50 years ago, 60 years ago.
I wasn't going that far back. I was going to 9/11.
For a lot of people,
That's
you
where I was
can come
going.
to the United States, make your own way. I mean, you could pretty well go to anywhere. But now, if you look at the United States today,
Yeah,
you
we're
have to
getting
go to
that.
very specific areas of the United States to have that kind of limitless potential and freedom. I mean, you look at, especially we can use Monterey as a microcosm here. I mean, Monterey, if you're really going to make it here, I mean, you really got to put your nose to the grind and really go at it as hard as possible. And even then, it sure shit helps a lot to know a lot of people.
I completely disagree with that.
Monterey is a fake economy.
Monterey's
I'll go
not
ahead
real.
and say it. It's not real.
It's not real.
It's not
Monterey's not
Little
even
microcosm.
It's not a microcosm. Monterey's not a microcosm.
No. Yeah.
It's not even a microcosm. It's not big enough to be a microcosm. There's fucking.
Well, that's why it's a micro.
It's smaller than micro. It's not even big enough to be a microcosm.
Ultra micro.
It's
I mean,
fucking.
micro means microscopic.
It's small. My point is, it's smaller than
You're
that.
focusing on the
Places-
micro macro. It doesn't matter what Preston
The
says
places-
stands. It doesn't really matter how hard you work here. You have to be in a very specific line of work, or you have to know people, because there's so much affluence and power here.
What do you mean by make it? It depends what you perceive as.
He's
making
talking
it.
about the American dream, like a
Yeah, but
fucking.
If you
Depends
show
what-
up with $13 in your pocket,
You
don't
ain't-
put me in Monterey.
You're not doing shit here, and the taxes for California by themselves, and just like how much money you have just to live here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
It's
can't
insane.
just do nothing and.
You
fucking
got to work
live.
hard everywhere to get. That's the point in the American dream. It's not about
Yeah,
here. You
but
have to work hard. Full stop.
The amount of hard work, if we were to quantify that hard work, the amount of work you have to do in Florida, I'm not throwing Florida under the bus here, but the amount of work that you have to do in your utilities, your fixed costs, your rent, and your care, whatever that you want to put into that food, etc. When your fixed cost or sunk cost every month is only $1,200, right? You can't get anything. You can't get an apartment here for $1,200.
You get a nice
in Monterey.
room.
Maybe you can get a nice room. So that's just your room. Okay, now you have to have transportation. You have to have all these other factors that go into it. Now, at the same time, in Florida, you're going to be compensated less because you have to spend less, obviously, right?
But if you're making $100K in Florida or in Arizona
That's
versus
like
here,
300
You,
here.
you got to live in fucking Florida. Who the
So?
fuck wants to live in Florida? Would
a
you
lot of
rather
people.
a lot of people will choose that. A lot. I mean, look at them. They're packed. These
Over-
places
over-
are packed.
over
dude.
PG?
A lot of people.
Over PG?
Bro, look at the population of PG. Even people in PG aren't choosing PG.
Yeah, 'cause-
Occupancy for people that
I
really
didn't.
live here is 66%
Yeah,
on
yeah.
average.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
average.
because this is it's a second,
Yeah, actually,
second or third homes.
But again, the fact still
That's why.
stands, bro.
Yeah, because they're
It still
second or third
stands.
homes.
It still
And the point is that
stands.
people who are from over here have houses for here because they'd rather be there. But there's too much going on in life, job, family, shit, school, fucking children, everything. That's why they built their life. But they realised here is heaven. So they want to fucking live here. This town was literally used to Pacific Grove by God. It was in name, right? Monterey by the smell, Carmel by the sea, Pacific Grove by God. You don't tell me that you haven't stood watching a sunset or stood at the fucking bay basically every time you've done that and looked on it and just gone, this is the greatest fucking place on earth. This is the greatest view. This is one of the most amazing places to live on earth in terms of soil, air. It's not a real town. This place is not real. It's not real. It's like a Hollywood movie set. This place is the fucking American. It's certainly my American dream. That's the way I perceive it. Fucking Monterey, the county. Monterey's not California. California's not America. America's not reality. But this place, for me, Pacific Grove, is always this Monterey, just feels like the exact perfect even spread of everything. There's black people here. There's a Mexican community here in terms of California. There's a surf community here. You have beach community. There's forest. Every little fucking piece of it is here. And if you can coexist within this, if you want the city, drive to San Jose. It's 40 minutes up the fucking street. If you really need the city that much. But the 66% of occupancy, and then you have these people that the second home is here. Because this is where they want to be. But they have to go back to the city and do their job. And when they can be here, it's
Or
the
14th
fucking,
home.
Whatever. When they can be here, it's the fucking best thing in their life. As kids, we're going to the beach out. Yeah! Fucking hell, we're going to PG. Right? They don't want to be in fucking Dallas.
No, the kids nowadays, they're all on pills, bro. They're not going to be acting like that.
Oh, here we go.
Bills and screens.
Bills and screens. Black Mirror, baby. Black Mirror.
Kids come here and it's foggy. Like, this sucks. Look at this thing on Instagram right here. Oh, this is way better. We should have gone over there.
It's true.
I see it every day. Pimp.
Yeah, of course you do. I see
These
that too.
kids, I mean, you
see
see
that
it.
too.
These kids, they have no involvement with the outside world.
When you were that
I was
age,
here as a
when you
kid,
were
I
that
thought
age,
it
when you
sucked.
were that age, and did you have a Game Boy?
Yeah.
What were you paying attention to when you were that age?
I was riding bikes, pimp.
Okay, that's you. But a lot of kids had Game Boys, right?
You ready?
No,
Everybody
I-
had Game Boys.
No,
Game
Game,
Boy or-
Boys were rare.
Right, see, it depends on where you're from in the world.
I
my
had
friend.
Game Boys.
I had a
Game
Game Boy
Boys.
too, but I was like one of
But
three.
one of three, like three people.
Yeah, one of
Me
three.
too.
That's a lot.
Me too. But the point, and when you had the Game Boy, what
It
happened?
was like me, you, and
20 people are sitting around you like, oh shit, bro, I'm trying to look at the screen. Oh, it's my
And-
go
and
next.
you're-
Because you're the, and right. So what's different from then and our era? You can talk, people of our era have got to be very careful with talk about technology. The kids are just watching iPads, they don't engage. That's because we've moved away from MSN and we look at a little Instagram, a little Facebook. We're trying to live in reality and we're put in between the fucking, the
well,
matrix
let's
zone.
not just attack the kids. I think it's everybody. Everybody's on their screens. A huge.
Those kids
amount
have
more
already,
of the time.
they're the next
Well, whose
stage.
fault is it? It's the parents' fault.
No, it's not.
Well, yes, it is.
No,
Yes,
it's
it is.
not.
Yes, it is because
No,
the
it's-
kids don't stop them and say, "Listen, that's bad for your health," because they don't really. They're either
parents
too busy or they
They don't know
know
any better, or they don't care enough.
No,
It's one of
no, I'm
those
sorry,
two.
That's
No.
not how it is. Not how it
Who
works.
is it? What is
It's
it?
not how it works. It's not how it works.
Jeff Bezos.
Having my
Not Jeff.
my sister has 2 kids. They're both under 5 years old. I'd speak to her. It's a nightmare. And the only fucking break you get because of the way society is just fucking here's the iPad. And now you can cook the food, do the fucking laundry, run, pay the bills. It's very easy to say the kids, it's bad for you. It don't fucking work like that. When you're in a classroom of 30 children and 28 of them have iPads or iPhones and you don't, you gotta get one because you get bullied, all sorts of social activity. The way it fucks with you, you gotta go to your parents and I need a fucking iPad. I need a fucking iPad. I need a fucking iPad. Mom. You have to.
Not
That's
now. I'm in the middle of my OnlyFans shoot.
so good. Clean.
What's that?
It's
That was even better. What's that?
So,
Amazing.
you know how, like-
I don't have to describe what only.
So imagine this. So imagine a website where you have people that you know,
Right?
okay? Instead of porno stars getting nude on camera or doing photos, doing all this crazy stuff, right? It's people that you know, and they share the link to get access to these nude photos or videos
Of themselves.
Of themselves.
What's this called?
OnlyFans. So you've never seen one of your friends
So
in
it's
high
like-
school.
You pay a monthly subscription and shit. And they make money off it, and then they
Right.
sell their panties, and people fucking pay 50 grand for the
So
sell
for
panties.
$30 a month, you could have that one chick from high school,
Yeah.
and then she's got her OnlyFans, and then she could have custom content just for you, Danny. Here I have
That's sick, dude.
Here I have my freaking Bolshevik Revolution.
I watched this thing on YouTube. It was like, let's talk about porn, and it was all about how like porn has evolved so much to be just extremely violent and degrading of women. Like they went from it just being intercourse that was good enough to choking to BDSM to ass to mouth to fucking. It had to keep progressing because it wasn't a good enough high. It had to get worse and worse and worse. And whenever these girls are beaten and treated badly, yeah, daddy, I want it more. And then it's like, and then that's how we're grown. The kids' age is 6 and up or whatever, they're watching porn. That's their whole association with how love is and how intimacy
And you're
is.
focusing on a very specific demographic of predominantly, I'm assuming the metric is white males. If you look
No.
at, hang on, if you look at the,
No, absolutely not.
no,
No.
hang on, if you look, what if you
No,
look at,
absolutely not.
whatever
University
you type
of
in,
Massachusetts tried to do a study on males that did not view porn, and they tried to find 1,000 people just randomly throughout
Yeah.
Massachusetts, a very
They couldn't.
they couldn't find
diverse
it.
population.
Okay.
They couldn't find a single dude.
Okay, but the porn that you're, the
And so
porn,
you have to
the,
go to, like-
the porn that you're speaking of is because
You'd have to go
we in
one of
this
those
room
Jewish
type in that
communities or
porn. That's the
something.
porn that we see, so we agree with it. If you like if you'd like to see a man fucking hung by his fucking balls with a woman calling him a piece of shit, a dirty boy, bad boy, sticking fucking gerbils up his ass, that's male degrading, you can see that too. There's any type of porn there is available. So to say that porn has reached a point where it's misogynistic and it's bad, it's, yeah, daddy, blah, blah, well, that's just because that's the porn that you're viewing.
I mean, we're talking about demographic differences at this point.
But I'm like,
if you're telling me
anything you want to see in porn exists.
Right? You're telling me that the Ozio film has the same...
Ozio?
Down the street in Monterey. A small independent film... like theater, right?
Most
You can't tell me that those had the same audience as fucking Avatar 3. Okay? So when you really start looking at the breakdown of what Danny's talking about, this Avatar 3 is what you're talking about. This is the main demographic of what we're seeing on the internet right here. I mean, you can't say that these what, maybe 5% of guys, I mean, I'm just spitballing here. How many guys are into this weird guy dominatrix bullshit?
Well,
who knows?
How
Who
much
knows?
of porn is
Who
actually
knows?
violent? Just look at any kind you want, donkey to donkey. I don't care. How much of it is actually like violent? And look at it. Is it all loving?
But again,
and
you can, if you type in loving sweet porn, you're going to get 450 million videos of loving sweet consensual sex porn.
We're
If you
talking
type in
about-
450 million
I'm
videos
talking
of...
about the rise of it, like it having to be more and more violent, having it to be more.
there's
and more
every type of
crazy.
porn.
The
There's
dopamine
everything.
receptors have been
Every,
destroyed.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Destroyed.
Everything's rise at the same time.
No.
There's
No.
every type of porn.
I don't think so.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's everything.
No way.
There's
no
any...
way.
It's not as
Just
not as
because
popular.
all types exist, right? Just because there's
Yes.
36 different flavors of Gatorade doesn't mean they're all drinking or drank. Whatever. What's the word? They're not all getting drank at the same volume.
That's good.
Okay. So you can't say that just because there's more Gatorades, right? We can have 50 different Gatorades, right? Doesn't mean everybody is rushing to
100.
drink the equal amounts of every single Gatorade. When you have all these different things, people have like favorite porn stars and shit. They put it. There was one dude.
OnlyFans.
So I'm not gonna say who it was, but there was this one dude, and there's this one chick, and she's like, "Yo, is this normal?" Because my boyfriend follows all these different guys on Instagram, and this is all this guy followed was all these different porno stars on Instagram. That's it. No, none of his friends, none of his family. It's like, "Yo, is this normal?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't think that's normal."
Yeah.
Like out of everything you could follow, only porno stars.
Maybe it's... But there you go. Maybe it's a frustration that you want more attractive women. Maybe that's what the frustration is. It's a frustration of man
It's all
to...
maybe.
Well, it's a frustration to be smarter, to be more physically... Oh, that dude, that super alpha. And maybe that's what's filling the void. Maybe people want... I want to be the super attractive alpha because I watch NFL all day and I can just see these jerk guys, or I watch all these sports. And the epitome of man has become this Adonis. Oh, fuck, here we go.
Oh, not the Adonis.
Here we
Well,
go. I was hit on by a guy from the military at the Shell gas station a few days ago. I had Moxie in the car, I was filling up the gas, and the guy was fucking 7'2".
You get his number?
Huge. No,
Yes.
because I'm not that way. No, I'm not that way inclined. But I know the vibe. I know when I'm being hit on. It's fine. I'm an attractive male. It's fine. Gay guys love me. Yeah, you're not gay unless there's telling us big bear boy. Now, anyway,
Big bear boy, I like that.
that's all right. Keep it. Write it down.
Triple B.
Triple
I
B.
know.
Damn it.
That is triple B.
Fuck.
So back to
B3.
so
He found
got
it
his
out.
B3.
his
Oh,
name
not the
was-
B3.
His name was
B3.
Taylor. His name was Taylor. All I could see on his military jacket was Taylor, and he had some fucking stripes and shit. And
I bet he made dresses too.
no, he was really nice, Pitbull or whatever. And where are you from? You England? I'm hitting on me, whatever. And I'm like, yes. He's like, so what's your name? I'm like, my name's Alex. Nice to meet you. Then I'm like, what's your name? And he said, Adonis. And I only burst out laughing because maybe that's it. That's the frustration of it. It's about being a super alpha male. It's about being an Adonis. And the
Well,
dudes that
how
the
many
dudes that
times do you
fuck
see an
these bitches-
emasculated, super feminine male on porn? Like, I'm sure it exists, but is that the predominance of it? You know what I mean?
Just because something exists doesn't mean that's the predominant culture of the thing. If you were to get at the AVN, Adult Video Network Awards, whatever the hell it is, or they have some kind of thing where they get awards and
Dildo
shit.
Award.
Well, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you were to go to that thing, right?
Vegas.
Are you gonna see these these small dudes getting freaking tied up and just hit with a plank?
If
A
you
little
go,
bit.
if you go to sex shows, yeah, I've been to.
But is that gonna be the guy that gets the awards?
Is he on center stage?
But hang on, also on that point, I've been to like sex trade shows for fun. Like you go and watch, like people can fucking here we sell this dildo, we sell that. I know you have to go. It's ridiculous.
Did they have the
It's fucking
jackhammer
crazy.
one?
Anything
Like
you
the
can
two-handed?
fucking think of, you're gonna see. It's
Fuck.
ridiculous. And I'll tell you that the main message or main constructed vibe of that train show, which is what they are, they're always There's always like even a guitar show, you'll know that there's always a push towards either it's jazz or metal. You know, you go to NAMM or whatever the national fucking festival is in Vegas. There's themes. There's always a theme about where the industry is headed together. The porn industry trade shows are not towards that. You'd actually find it's more towards female empowerment. And it's more towards female empowerment, and maybe that's perhaps where you view the more violent, misogynistic. It's sort of. It might be facetious for me to say, but perhaps. I know for a fact there is definitely a breed of woman who is evolving right now, who are more free, who are not scared of anything, and yeah, if you want, I can take it just like a fucking man. I can take it, like. An NFL, you go train football all day and you get pounded and smashed to the ground. You're a big hard guy. Oh yeah. Well, the female empowerment side is flipping to that, and maybe they're enjoying. You have to see it from the other side. Maybe they're enjoying what you perceive to be misogynistic.
I never said misogynistic.
You said misogyny. You said the word. That's why I keep repeating it.
I didn't say it.
You did say it.
No, I didn't.
All right, we're recorded. We'll go back and look at it.
And also, this was a show that I saw. It's a TED Talk about Let's Talk About Porn.
Fine.
And she was saying that the people who watch porn consistently all the time actually have brain damage. And in the part of their brain that activates during sexuality, you know, when you have sexual intercourse and stuff like that. And so it's a constant high. It's a dopamine rush. You have to keep going, right? And if you do the same old porn, it's not going to be good enough. You have to keep upping the ante over and over and over again. And her point was, this is destroying relationships. It's not empowering them. It's making it has to keep getting crazier and crazier for you to be attracted.
I mean, look at Hugh Hefner. I mean, they had him at the end. They said that he couldn't even get hard at all. I mean, they were pumping this guy full of drugs. He just couldn't get it up, period. They had him on an IV drip of Cialis, Levitra, and Viag, all three of them. They had him in a blender, Jamba Juice style. The Vitamix. They had the whole thing with the tampener. Well, they couldn't get it.
If you look at it, too, I mean, porn addiction, I mean, it's a real thing. I mean, it's really coming out. And like I said, you got to look at the shift, because it's only really, really honestly in society in the past 10 years. Because iPhone came out in 2008, and not everybody really had one. 2009 rolled around, then 2010, then pretty much everybody fucking had an iPhone. Everyone. Especially by the fourth iPhone, everybody had a fucking iPhone.
Everybody.
And then Android came out, and they have this, and then today it's like, you don't have a smartphone? What's wrong with you? Like that, you know, like you pull out a flip phone and people are like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, the judgment, like you were talking about, like all the pressure to have.
Pressure, you have to have it.
You have to have
Now, it's like what Elon Musk said.
Yeah.
We are cyborgs now.
Yeah.
The children that are growing that can't focus, we need to look at them. They're
But it's a
cyborgs.
real thing, and
Just
it
happens. It's
affects
real.
everybody. You know, I'll point out two notable individuals that, you know, came very public with their porn addiction. One, very well known, is Terry Crews. You talk about the epitome of a fucking alpha male, NFL player, big fucking strong guy, actor. I mean, he's, you know, beloved by most of the world, especially in the United States. You're like, oh shit, that's the fucking Terry Crews.
Very cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he
it's-
came out, he's like, I had a full-blown porn addiction. Like, he had to have his wife take away his computer, no internet access, no phone. Like, that's all he would do all day long, just porn for hours and hours and hours and hours. Really weird. And then there's another guy, a little bit lesser known, but he's a multiple world record-holding powerlifting champion. And he came out even a couple weeks ago, because I follow him on Instagram, and he's like, so I was addicted to cam girls, and I spent probably a couple $100,000 just on cam girls. And you're like, this is like literally the strongest fucking dude that has ever existed on the planet. Ultimate alpha male, as you
Wheels
like to
are
call
cool.
it. Yeah, Larry Wheels.
So is
Yeah.
that a prime example of people like overcompensating? Like they have this deep-seated issue with insufficiency or whatever, and then they have to overcompensate, become these huge alpha males, like supposedly. And
Well, I mean, if you
This
look at
was-
bodybuilding and strongman sports as a general whole, you know, nobody realistically does it and pushes themselves to that kind of physical limit because they're very happy, they're content, they're filled with joy. I mean, it's a very long, very painful, very hard process to do. I mean, it's not just powerlifting. If you go look at other sports, I mean, one of the most common themes with very well-accomplished long-distance runners is they grew up in very abusive households. The majority of those runners, they're literally running to get away. And the only thing they know is how to run. And because they can run, they feel like they're escaping their past. And so, you know, when you hear about these guys, like, okay, you know, you can go run a marathon. A lot of people can do a marathon if you just train for it and put your mind to it. But then you have the ultra running class, like the guys that run 100 miles nonstop. There's something up there. You know, nobody just goes, I want to run 100 miles in a row and have my fucking toenails fall off and have my feet rupture and, you know, all this stuff. I mean, there's something in there. And then there's the occasional guy like, David Goggins, I didn't read his book. Phil has. But, he just basically got fed up one day.
Zane has too. It's a 15-hour audiobook.
Badass, dude.
Yeah.
For the physical?
Hard copy.
Yeah.
Wicked.
And it's like me and Danny met that one guy, Brian Robinson. At his peak, he was the best long-distance runner ever. Nobody's ever come close to any of his records. And there's a couple that, honestly, people probably believe will never be broken. They will eventually one day. They will. But, I don't know the guy well enough to be like, hey, why? Why are you out here Forrest Gumping in the middle of desert for 100 miles?
Forrest Gump had his demons.
Yeah.
Best believe.
Right.
Just because he wasn't a smart man didn't mean he didn't have a lot of pain.
Is Tom Hanks a paedophile?
I don't know. I don't know the man.
Oh.
Phil?
At this point, man, if you really start breaking it down, who's on the flight logs?
Yeah.
That's going to answer your questions. And if you've been more than one time, hey, I can understand you go one time, you try it out. But, I mean, people don't even want to listen to me say Stephen Hawking was on that island.
Also,
MIT.
They may have not known what was there.
Right, again, if you've been there one time...
Things happen at Epstein Islands, but no one talks about it.
Well,
so
here's
you want to
the
go
thing.
and see what it is.
If you want to
right?
trap somebody,
to
trap somebody, what's the best way? Just get them in a room with children, drug them up or whatever, have them have sex with it, film it, say, you'll do whatever we say politically, or
release the video.
Or you'll release the video. Who's really going to say no?
How do you get them there? Epstein, you know Epstein because he's groomed you, he's a nice guy, he's got fucking multi-billions of dollars, maybe you've been to his place, he's a fucking suave dude, you've eaten his shit. Hey, listen, when you get to that level of friendship with the guy, have you ever met
the Lolita Express.
Right. Have you ever met...
His madam is called Ghislaine Maxwell.
That's not how you pronounce it.
It doesn't matter, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, but that's not, you said it like it was a fact, and it's not.
Ghislaine.
Where is the perp walk?
Right.
Show me one video, show me one photo. We have videos of Bill Cosby saying, hey,
At least we saw
walking into the courthouse.
So we have Weinstein too.
We have
With
it
the
all.
fucking stretcher, and we all went, get the fuck out of here with your little walker.
Show me one photo or one video of Ghislaine. I don't know what her real name is. I don't even want to attempt to pronounce it right. It's whatever it is.
Doesn't matter if she's in jail.
Doesn't matter.
She's not in jail, but they've got her.
But where's she at?
Doesn't matter. They've got her.
They had the
Doesn't
bullshit
matter,
story.
she'll never testify. She'll never see the light of day.
Oh, they
You
had.
think so?
She had her phone.
I know. So. Or if she does testify, it'll be false testimony to get a bunch of people they don't want talking whatever down. Because, like you said, being accused of it, being accused of pedophilia or whatever is the worst thing that can happen to you. And if they can convince people that that's who you are, you're instantly discredited. If you're saying anything that they don't want you to say,
Perhaps
it goes both ways.
Perhaps, but if you are the right hand of the devil, and you're given a position and a platform to speak what you know, because of your fucking, you're that close to the devil. You basically are the devil at that point. Whatever she says will be taken as gospel. Whatever she says won't be discredited because she's been a pedophile. Whatever she says will be the fucking story. And
I
that's
wasn't
what
saying
it
it
will
was to be discredited.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying whatever she says will be the fucking story. That's why we don't know where the fuck she's at, because she's sitting around. Can you imagine, bro? She's obviously got lawyers, or maybe she hasn't. What lawyer on a planet wants that fucking case?
Everyone.
All of them.
What? You're dealing with the
There's for sure.
The royal
there's for sure
fucking
worse dudes.
family.
Yeah.
There's for sure. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit what she's done, but there's for
what?
sure worse dudes. There's for sure worse dudes, and people have lined up to be their lawyers. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know them, just because
Well,
I don't know what the names of the lawyers are.
You want to be their lawyer?
That's not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying. Not because they don't want to.
They have lawyers that'll
not because they
defend
don't want to do the
Monsanto
job.
over Agent Orange.
Not because they don't want to do the job. It's because of what she knows. You don't think the royal fucking family are gonna come knocking on? You don't just leave Ghislaine at the fucking go home.
The
to your
federal
office.
judge's son and the husband?
They're dead.
Bro,
Is the husband dead?
No,
Last
he
time I
got
heard,
shot.
he was just shot.
Look,
Yeah.
if you no lawyer wants that case because you're gonna get fucking murked.
Unless you're one of the lawyers that's with the royal family, it's like, yeah, I'll make sure that whatever they say doesn't go through in court. That's the kind. You're saying
She has
you're
to
making
use one of their
sweeping
lawyers.
statements that no
Maybe.
lawyer whatsoever would want to take.
Don't look behind
normal,
the curtain.
Yeah,
Don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain.
exactly.
But she's got to make it there first, and I'm not seeing any evidence that she's even around right now. I had conflicting reports. They said that she was in Israel. I heard people
heard
say
she was in
that.
Israel.
I heard people say she was at her place in the Hamptons.
I heard she was in Israel for the last year. They took all the information out of her, and then
They
like,
got
we
her
know
over in the Hamptons.
That's what, yeah. So
Yeah.
they
They sent her back.
and then they're saying that, oh, well, the phone was covered in tinfoil.
And I'm like, what the?
She got corona and died instantly from complications.
You know what's
Instantly.
happening
I don't
right
think
now
people take-
on
I don't think people
DraftKings
take
and these
that.
betting websites is they have betting spreads and odds about how she's going to die.
Yeah, you told
Yeah.
me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna come out rich as fuck. I made $55 million by betting exactly
I don't know if that's
when
real.
and where and how.
I don't know
she'll
if that's real though.
No, you can go on
That's for sure
DraftKings.com,
You
sign
can
up for
do
an
it.
email, put $100 in there, and
People
say,
bet
I
on
got-
how
I
the
got
economy
2 to
will
1
crash
odds,
and
you
when
wanna
and
hang
when.
around.
They'll let you bet on
if you're that
anything.
set, if you're that set, Vegas or whatever.
you can look on Vegas odds.
Yeah, fine.
You don't think in Vegas right now there's teleprompter and screens and people at the fucking bar betting
Yeah,
on
you're right, yeah,
dates and
his name,
times and
Mazda-
how
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
what.
totally.
I mean, literally, you look on Vegas odds, there's a fucking whole sheet
You're right, it's-
of the
yeah,
different ways.
So what's your bet?
My bet? I mean, 100% she's going to get murdered.
100% is a bit.
100%.
She's gonna be suicided.
99%. Give yourself a space to be wrong.
Even if she wasn't murdered, she's
Yeah,
going to end up dead.
Yeah.
100%.
If
Well,
she
that's
has,
enough.
she'll make a statement and then conveniently die. And that
Now,
statement.
I'm throwing in the same. There's no way Trump's going to be president, right? If
I disagree.
anything, no. In
The same mindset.
4 years ago,
Right.
Yeah.
if we've learned anything from that as a society, we have to learn. We have to learn that we don't know shit, so anything's possible. So the fact that everyone thinks she's gonna die, she is gonna die. She ain't gonna die. He will not be president. He's president.
That's more of a mainstream media dichotomy. The mainstream media is the one that said that Trump would never be president.
No, dude,
That was more of a polling issue. That
let's
was
just call it 50-50 in society. Some people thought he would be.
so 50% of people don't even vote.
More than 50 people.
It's like 70.
No, but it doesn't matter if they vote or not. Just
It does matter.
The amount of people that you meet, just the opinion, not the actual fucking what happened. The opinion.
Well, it's risk
he won't
versus
be
reward,
president.
right? Why
Okay,
would you
risk versus
say
reward, okay.
that Why would you say, "Oh, I'm a big Trump supporter. I love Trump"? There's no benefit for you
Yeah, there is. Because
How?
you're part of the.
Not here.
Because
Not
you're
now.
not here.
in your
Not
prevailing
now.
culture
Because you're
of
part of the
California.
gang. Because you need a gang. You
Right.
need. Listen, bro.
Politics is always a gang.
There's three people that Khalil grew up with, who one of them grew weed, one's super hippie, goes to the gym, peaceful, loving people. We left, fucking went to London for 3 years. We came back. She went to her dad's to go see him. They all support Trump. Because they need a gang. They need America. You got guns, right? Because they have just enough America in them for it to be manipulated away from being peaceful, loving, hippie, be unified, and be more towards the anti whatever. And that built a lot of that's what rebuilt the right wing. Happened in my country too. Had exactly the same thing happened in my country. People needed a gang. They needed a place to go. The lower, the poorest levels of society
The
in the white
enemy of my
community.
enemy is my friend.
Oh
Right.
no.
Well,
And think about it. I mean, the way I see it right now, the Democratic Party is becoming
People
so
drugs
heinously
and
insane that
Too sober for this.
that the right will become ultra fanaticized too, and then it'll be like
I
it'll
mean,
be an
ultimately,
excuse.
the
It'll be an
far
excuse
left-
for fascism. It'll be like, look, the left's going crazy, so we need to go even crazier, and then they're going to be pitted against each other, and it's going to be a civil war. It doesn't matter who's right at this point. It's all just like you said, division. You don't know who your neighbors are. You haven't spoken to anybody in weeks. Everybody's immune systems are down. They think they're going to be weekend warriors. They're going to bust out their AKs, and they're
That
going
was
to
the
fucking
whole
fight the world.
argument that we got in trouble for to bring this back. Oh, Pacific Grove is for neighbors. Name one of your fucking neighbors, dude. Most
The
of these
Wilsons.
People, nobody. Yeah, you're just throwing out names. We can't have short-term rentals.
yeah. I mean, I grew up in one house for 18 years. I knew like 2 of my neighbors.
Well, everybody else was terrified of us because we were running around the streets with fake guns that looked so real.
Well,
Yeah,
nobody
'cause
really
America.
wants to get along. At the
No.
end of the day, dude, everybody's on their own shit.
I see again. It's yes and no. There's levels to it. Like we were saying, there's levels,
There's levels
to
to
it.
this shit.
There's levels to it. I come from a country where there is no, hey, how you doing? Doesn't exist. For you guys, it's
Yeah, people look at you. We're like, what the fuck are
Kalia
you
couldn't
doing?
understand it when we moved to England, and I was like, "What are you talking about? It's just the way things are here." And it had a really deep effect on her, and it crushed a lot of her spirit living in England, and that's because it's horrible. I hate that fucking country. And when we first got married, the point was, let's go to the States. Let's go to Miami, where she was living at the time. No, I want to come live in London. Oh, I don't want to. I want to go to
No, you
Miami.
really don't.
I don't want to. You go to England, you go to most places in Europe. Well, not most places in Europe, actually, it's different. You go Rotterdam, the Dutch are very different. The Germans are very different. If you show her, hey, how you doing? I'm good, how you doing? Listen, I'm the postman here. Well, hey, how you doing, buddy? So to say that people don't want to talk to each other, there isn't. There's, especially here, especially in California, there's this instilled societal respect. It's in a lot of places in America, but more here than anywhere else. You go to New York and hey, how you doing? What the fuck you want? What are you talking about? It's that thing. Out here in the West, it's... My father-in-law said that California is the place where... He's like, he moved here when he was the Second World War when he was a little kid. And he grew up in this society, whatever you know about my father-in-law. He lived in an ashram in India for many, many years, and he was the head rehabilitation and psychological counselor at San Quentin. He lives in Marin. He's fucking guru guy. And he's like, California is a place where everyone comes to be themselves. And in California, you're allowed to be yourself.
Unless you're Republican.
That still doesn't really matter. You're allowed to be yourself here. You can be who you want. You can be wacky, be a little stupid. You can walk down the street and wear crazy shit. And in California, you're like, huh, look at that. That's California. That's what it is. Anywhere else in America, look at that crazy. He's crazy. Call the cops. Whatever. He's wearing a purple hat and fucking blowing bubbles or whatever. Eric Andre. That it's okay here. It's just silly and goofy. And it's just part of be who you want to be. We kind of know you're doing it on purpose. Maybe you're not. Maybe there's something wrong with you. Oh, sorry, man. It invokes feelings and invokes human care for one another.
Compared to all the other states, California is definitely the one where you can be the weirdest.
So just because people want to be private here in PG and kind of be away, they'll still say hi and whatever. They're not going to be your buddy and your pal, because a lot of the people, like we said, are either super rich and live very stressful, very high level jobs, or this is their holiday home and they come here to be on holiday. They don't come here to make friends and stuff. They come here to escape. This is an escapist town. My whole career is based on escapism, based on tiki bars and getting people drunk. Everything I know is about escapism. The foundation of this county is escapism. 75% of the economy is fucking tourism.
Well, Pacific Grove, that's how it started. It was only open, less than 6 months out of the year, and the rest of the time you could not be here.
It was a Methodist retreat.
You could not be here.
That's right.
No physical structures except for the church.
Yeah.
And I think we need to embrace the fact more that people come here to just get away and to escape and to be welcome to the soul of what this place is, rather than trying to push for it to get more out of people.
Well, I mean, you have that in a lot of different areas in the country. You know, I've been to several states. I mean, you know, I'll speak a lot about, you know, especially Montana. Montana's a very certain way. If you're not from Montana, if you don't look like you belong there, people will give you an odd eye. I mean, it's the same thing when we went to Bietigheim over in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Danny kind of looked like he belonged there, but even then, people were more off-put to Danny, especially me, because I was walking around, people like, so you're an American? I'm like, yeah, I'm wearing fucking boots and Carhartt. And
you can see people
stand out.
American from space, bro.
But you liked standing out. You made a point of it.
But you look like,
I mean, that's just how I dress.
And you look like a typical German. But
even then, we went to...
It's the beard and the hikey kind of hippie vibe that makes Germans unsettled, because the Germans are not like this.
No, they don't like beards.
Yeah.
They don't like the beard.
Yeah, we went to the shooting house
you
one night, and we go there. We say, hey, can we get a couple beers? Some drunk guy comes up and he goes, you need to get out of here right now. And we're like, what? And then Danny's talking to him, and like, well, what are you doing here? And Danny's like, my grandpa founded the fucking club. And then we were all friends all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But it's like the first interaction was like, get out.
To be fair, they were closed.
That's anywhere. That's a lot of places in the world, pal.
Yeah.
That's everywhere, dude. Go to fucking Hong Kong. Go to one China, Hong Kong. Walk around for 10 minutes. 1,000 people will look at you.
Here is different, but you know, my grandpa and my grandma.
Like a fucking lumberjack.
Yeah, but
fucking.
Great.
What's it called? No, Jack. What's the fucking
Paul Bunyan, dude?
No. You cut. What's the one with the beans?
Johnny Appleseed.
No, that's an apple seed.
The beans.
The magic
Jack.
beans. Jack in a fucking red stalk.
Yeah.
Isn't that British?
Yeah. Great story.
But no, I mean, when my grandpa and my grandma moved here back in the 60s, I mean, because my grandma's Middle Eastern, I mean, there was a lot of weird tensions. And the weirdest thing is because when they moved here, you know, my grandpa and my grandma combined had a car and $60. That was it. And, you know, it's a lot more today, but it's not like, you know, we came here with like fucking $100,000 and it's like, that's okay. It's like, no, it was like a few $100 maybe.
You know, that would have been like $500.
Yeah, still not a lot. I mean, you can't do that now. Absolutely not. You'd live in your car and then leave eventually. Yeah. I mean, there's no way to come here. But, you know, my grandpa, he's telling me is that they moved here because my grandma got a job at the DLI teaching Arabic. Mm-hmm. And they go to the movie theaters, they go to restaurants, and she would pay. And a lot of the servers and waiters and restaurant owners and my grandpa can recall, you know, some places like didn't want him there because the wife was paying. And that was just a really weird, bizarre concept because, especially in PG back in the 60s, oh no, the man was the head of the household. That's just what it was. And then, you know, my grandpa, you know, he eventually bought so many homes that the whole city council, city PG, everybody said, you need to stop buying homes. This isn't what this place is about. You can't have this much property in one place. Other people need to live here. He's like, all right, I want to retire.
Yeah, in many cultures in America, a lot of parts of them, like the man orders all the food because he's the one to be expected to pay. You can't just order whatever you want. No, I'm not paying for that. It's like, no, he orders everything. Anybody opens their mouth, shut up. You know, I'm paying.
I mean, look at Utah.
That's look at Utah.
Yeah.
But that's because it's different. I'm trying to figure out how deep we go with this. Different societies have different. They're just slower. You know, America moves very quickly. Europe has been dealing with the medieval hierarchy, castle in the hills. Even if you go to Paris in the arrondissement I used to live in, the 18th, you have the Sacré-Cœur, which is probably the most famous church of all of France, outside of the Notre Dame, and it's stunning, beautiful thing. It looks over the whole of Paris, the north of Paris. It's literally built as a massive giant pyramid structure, giant. And when it was first created, you go to the Musée du Montmartre. I've been there like 10 times because I designed a bar and built a bar for somebody based on the entire influence of that museum. It was in that hill, so I'm like, I'm gonna go to the museum and learn everything about the place, and there's all my research. And back then, it was literally the poorest people lived slum in the dirt, in the shit on the bottom, and you worked your way up your hill financially, and you go up that hill. That's where in that museum was where Cubism was invented. It was like Picasso's art studio. It's fucking crazy place, and it's the only vineyard inside Paris. They grow their own wine there and shit. Super dope. But you could quite literally see the system. But since then, it got bigger and got more expanded, and existentialism and French and liberté, fraternité, and they would have way more time than America. America just moves, the wheels turn much quicker. There's certain places in the world that just move archaically slower, and that's predominantly based on, well, if you have, you know,
Well, I mean,
Billy Connolly, the comedian, says, never trust somebody who's only got one book. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
That's it. Don't trust anybody who's got one book.
Because that signifies immediately that they're absolutely sure of their position and they're not open to discussion.
Right. The Middle East isn't. Most of the Middle East is most.
well, I will say this about the United States.
The eyebrows were raised.
I was going to say some country.
Some blood was boiling right there.
I'm going to back up away not today.
Well, I will say about this, especially about the United States, is the biggest problem I have is that so many people become, as I like to call it, too specialized.
Over-specialization of everything.
Right. It's like, well, I do gutters. Can you do downspout? No, I only do gutters. It's like, so I got to call a different guy just do gutters? Like, you're a gutter guy, like, do the downspout. No, I can't do that. You know, that's just an example. Like, hey, I'll call a roofer. Like, I only do tiles. I'm like, but you're a roofer. Just do some tar. No, I only do tiles. It's like, well, I'm a carpenter. Okay, what do? I only do framing.
I mean, that's like going to pizza in my heart and I want an omelet.
Well, I mean, it's not.
It's not. It's not scratch. That's like we do pizza here. Well, can I have pepperoni? No, we don't. Just do cheese.
Would you consider yourself? Would you consider yourself a gutter guy?
I can do gutters.
So you're a great gutter guy. It's Triple G.
Oh, go work at Chippendales. No, I mean it's just the ultra specialization. Like I'll call plumbers and like, oh, I only build infrastructure. I don't clear the drains. It's like, but you're a plumber. Like, just bring your snake out, do it. Like, I don't want a snake. It's like,
bring your snake out.
Yes.
I thought we went back to porn.
Drain snake.
So, the drain.
The dopamine receptors are blown, dude.
I thought we were back to porn.
No, drain snake.
Drain snake. Is
Yeah,
that your porn name?
Yes. It's my OnlyFans name.
Not the only.
No!
Oh, no.
Preston Drain Snake.
For freaking $12.54 a month,
Drain Snake.
you too can see Preston Flatley.
12. I can get that much. I'm only charging 99 cents.
Mr. Mojo.
But no, I mean, everybody becomes ultra specialized. And it's not like you're a brain surgeon. Okay, well, you can only, do surgery on the brain. That makes sense. Like, that's a very specific part. But it's just like, okay, well, if you're a general contractor, you should be able to do from ground up.
The whole thing's supposed to be general. It's a general. Just call 1-800-GENERAL now.
I mean, it's like if I go into Phills Barber shop and get a haircut, be like, hey, can you do my beard? No, you got to go next door. What? No.
Well, the answer is no now because of Daddy Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, that's your uncle.
Daddy Newsom.
Yeah. So that's the answer for now.
But I mean, I think it's just this mass amount of information and over-specialization that causes a lot of frustration. It really does. And it's
rhyming and timing, brother. That was powerful. That was like blaxploitation radio station.
Damn. But it gets back to the building of non-independence, right? Because, I mean, you call a plumber 60 years ago, any plumbing contractor on the face of the planet, doesn't matter what kind of pipe, how big, how small the job is, what you're doing, HVAC, plumbing, drains, you call one dude. And now you got to call like 6.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10.
We have a huge problem with that with science, too. Like, people super specialize in one thing, and they don't have a basic understanding of science in general. They've just super specialized, and they're very closed-minded. And these same people are the ones who work for mega corporations, and they sell their services. Oh, yeah, I'll work only within this very specific set of numerals, because they know they have one set of scientists figure out at what point during the test will it actually have a negative result, and then they say, okay, scratch that. They get a new scientist in there, say work only within this, and then publish that result.
That's
and
because science it's a field like any other, and people want to be rock stars in their field. So I'm going to go. And
they want to get paid. They want to have a new Lexus.
I can speak to that pretty specifically. I mean, my grandpa, he came here and eventually he got a job as a chemist over at the PG&E plant in Moss Landing. And I was asking him about it. I said, what kind of teams did you have? Did you have this? Did you have that? He goes, no, we just had the chemistry department. If there was an issue, it would go to the chemistry department, and everybody was on it. We didn't have this specific guy for natural gas, and we didn't have this guy for this, and this guy for that, and this guy for this, and that. No, it was just the chemistry department handled it.
Right, and you couldn't have one actor saying, "Oh, well, this is how it worked." It's like the whole chemistry department would go like, "No, wait, that's not what we found out."
Would that not have come from some people in charge basically saying, "We need someone to fix this problem.
Right.
We can't figure it
but
out."
Then
why don't we pay you more to work harder and figure out the problem? It's just necessity, right?
Well, I mean,
supply and demand.
it was operating. It still is operating. So what they were doing, it's better. There's more information today. Not necessarily better, but different today. But then you look at my other grandpa. He was the #1 lead researcher at the entire corporation Chevron, all of them. That multinational corporation. He was the #1 guy. When he first started his job, if there's a problem, that was his job to fix. It didn't matter what it was or his field of study or what it was.
He would
was the
figure it out.
#1 guy. That was his job to figure it out. And by the end of his career, it got so ultra specialized, he ended up doing tribology, which is a study of oil on metal and the wear and tear of it. Different combinations of oil and metal and engines and pistons and different sizes and gas fuel mixtures and
That's
all this
called
stuff.
tribology?
Tribologist, yeah.
Wow.
And he became so ultra specialized that it kind of made him a little bit mad, because when he wanted to study hydrogen fuels, Chevron said, "No, you're a tribologist. You can't study hydrogen." And he's like, "Well, I understand all of this stuff intimately better than most people on the face of the planet. Why can't you give me a grant or let me study hydrogen fuel?" And they said, "No, you're a tribologist. You need to study the wear and tear of metal and oils. That's it." And so then he did his own research. And this is a very qualified individual. He went to Harvard, and in 6 years from Harvard, he got a doctorate and a master's in 2 separate fields.
Right.
Very intelligent individual. And the whole company said, "No, we have a hydrogen team, and we have this team, we have that team, we have this, we have that. We have a fuel team, we have an oil team, we have a metal team." But back when he first started, he was the team. He was a fuel guy. He was a metal guy. He was the oil guy. He was this. He was that. He was manufacturing. He had to understand the process front to back, side to side. So the whole vertical integration doesn't exist. It's like a Christmas tree now. It's straight, but there's 8,000 different branches on each branch. There's different branches, and then they have little needles. And then, what if one needle falls off? Would it really affect it? Yes and no. But then all the needles fall off, then it's dead.
So what you're saying is, it's just what Phil was saying. It's
Right.
another asset or facet of division. They're dividing everybody into these little blocks. It's compartmentalization. You only know as much as you need to know, because we only need to know a very specific set of variables from your research, period.
Right.
Can't have you know in the broader scope, because then you may not want to do it, or you may think it's unethical, or you may think whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
And so it all goes back to division. Division is a huge problem. It's not just in culture. It's not just in our value of money. It's not just our ethics. It's everything. It's always taking apart. They don't want wholeness. They don't want family units. They don't want these things, because it keeps people together, and therefore they're strong. And
Right.
it's divide and conquer all over again.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to self-reliance.
Yeah.
You look at these TV shows and whatnot, Alaska, I always laugh, because I was watching some of these shows, and you have real homesteaders. These guys literally from the ground up in the middle of fucking nowhere built everything. They had to figure it out. There's no two situations alike. Alaska's very diverse. I mean, the geography is insane up there. I mean,
You have to be
and
pretty hard.
It's
to
half
fucking-
the size of the United States, right? And then I was watching this one show where this couple, like, "Oh, our dream was to go to Alaska. We're Silicon Valley engineers and this and that." And then they had a roof leak. And they said, "Oh my God, I don't know if we can live here if we have a roof leak. What about the rest of the construction of the house and whatnot?" And there's a scene, and I still remember it, is that they said, "You need to really evaluate your work here, this and that." And, the whole 9 yards, and he's really angry. And the general contractor's like, "You want to live in Alaska, but you don't know how to fix a roof? Like, you can't call us 6 months out of the year. We can't get to you." And the guy's like, What do you mean I can't get to you? Like, what do you mean I can't call somebody? What do you mean you can't be right there? What do you mean I have to do it?
Instant gratification.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, you still need to build an out shed. You still need to do this. You need to still do that. And the guy's like, oh, we can't do this. And he just left, abandoned it. It's like, well, where the fuck do you think you're moving? It wasn't like Juneau, Alaska.
Where's the Walmart?
It wasn't Fairbanks.
Yeah. Where's the Walmart?
Yeah. Where's 911? There is no 911.
Yeah. Where's the internet?
Yeah.
No fucking internet.
Yeah.
What? There's no HughesNet?
Yeah, I mean, you just really look at that, and it's not disturbing. I mean, the guy obviously had a very successful career, but it's like, well, maybe instead of moving to Alaska, just live there a couple months, rent a house, go to Fairbanks. Don't go to some,
We saw in
isolated-
Oprah's magazine that it was so easy to live in Alaska,
Yeah,
and it's our dream. We've never done any research, but it's our dream.
yeah. Then you tell a lot of people, okay, go to Alaska, buy a bunch of guns because you're running bears and you got to shoot them when they attack you. It's like, oh, I can't shoot a bear.
No,
It's
we'll
like,
never do that.
well, you're gonna die. Great.
Yeah.
It's a
back to
1,000
the
pound
story
grizzly bear.
of death.
Yeah.
He was saying, you're all gonna die. Let's stop. Obsessing over it and everything like that. So why are people so obsessed with their mortality? Why are people so afraid of everything? What do you think? What do you think, Phil? What is driving people's fear through the roof? Is it the media?
Because it's different. I mean, anything that's different is going to be scaring people. It's the other,
The
right?
unknown.
So it's the unknown. All you have when you're alive is the life, right? So all you know is life. Every single day you've been alive, right?
Unless you have a heavy dose of DMT or a psychedelic and you've had ego death and that's all behind you.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people haven't done that.
A lot of people haven't. And
I
even
mean-
if they have
I mean,
had it,
the-
it's a fading memory. you
Right,
know?
and how much of that thumbprint of that experience really lasts on people?
I'd say
How many
not
mo-
too many.
But you know what I mean? I mean, how many people can really say that tread on that tire is still there? All these people that have done all these different ceremonies. I mean, trust me, I know a lot of dudes that have done a lot of stuff. I mean, hell, even us within this room, we've had a lot of different experiences. But at the same time, if you really tell somebody, yo, this is what it's like, well, I mean, come on, how the hell do you know what it's really like? And
You
just
can't
because I
explain it.
experienced my own version of it doesn't mean that my version of it was the same as your version of it.
Right.
It can't be explained, it can only be experienced.
Right.
Right.
So you have these people, I mean, what's the fixation with death? I mean, what's the fixation with life? I mean, what's the difference? Right?
Pleasures.
I mean,
Attachment.
What's the difference?
I mean, what's in the afterlife? What if it's better? You know, it always goes back to the argument. I mean, how do we know this is the middle ground? How do we know this is really life? I mean, what if
We don't.
we
We
are
know nothing.
existing in hell as we speak?
We know nothing.
I think it's heaven and hell. It's
We don't-
whatever
we don't-
situation you're in.
Well, I mean, you know, biblically speaking, you have heaven, you have earth, and you have hell.
Yeah.
And then when you die, you'll go to one of the
Limbo.
two. What if we're already in hell? What if this is hell? And we don't know the pleasures
Well,
of
because
earth
this
because our
can't-
memories have been
surely
stripped
this
out from
can't-
our souls.
Surely this can't be hell, because then you wouldn't experience any pleasure. Because the whole point in hell is the antithesis of pleasure, which is permanent, constant, forever.
Dante's Inferno,
pain.
there's a lot of demons in there experiencing a lot of pleasure.
Yes, but
Technically, it's
but
the
then you have
absence
to be,
of
hang on,
God's
then you-
love
Hold up.
is hell.
Hang on. But a demon is a servant of the devil. It is not a visitor to hell. A
And
demon.
the devil is a servant of God.
All right, but hang on a minute.
Good one.
Yeah.
You
You can draw lines.
Whoa!
You can draw lines if you
I mean,
want to. The
Lucifer
point-
is an angel.
You can
Yeah.
draw lines. Yeah, right. Okay, but the point is, okay, you can draw lines back to God, but that doesn't
Or
explain.
was. I mean, whatever you want.
We couldn't. How could we be in hell?
And all Lucifer wants is God's
Okay,
love.
you're saying that.
But Lucifer's
hang
not
on, whoa,
Satan.
whoa, whoa,
They're
whoa, whoa.
different
You're saying
entities.
that demons in the movie of Dante's Inferno. Okay, artistically, demons have been depicted for forever since the fucking Renaissance, whatever. Enjoying certain pleasures in hell, but there's always hordes and millions and masses of people suffering. So
Like
what you're
there is
saying
today.
is, if you're able, so what we're saying. Hang on, let me get to my point. So what you're saying is, if by your theory, if this is hell, then only the
It's not a theory. He was doing what if.
okay.
Yeah, it's just a
Okay.
hypothetical.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what I'm
exactly.
saying, but I'm saying, surely we can't be. Surely it's nonsense. Though. Surely
You
this-
said
this
we know
can't be hell.
nothing, so
We're on a
but
little
surely-
marble.
But if we,
filled
how can
with
I
fire
do
and
this?
brimstone.
How can I do this? And experience pleasure from that. If this is supposed to be hell, I'm supposed to be suffering.
Well, your
in
interpersonal pleasure
damnation.
doesn't mean that truly is a pleasurable
Hell
experience.
hell has been depicted and written as
Your
the
experience is
antithesis
hell
of
for somebody
positivity
else.
is negativity.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. The entirety of your experience within that regard, right?
Right.
That's purely a subjective experience. There's nothing objective about it, right?
Okay.
I mean, if I was to
you went to the
measure your
point of
blood
demons.
levels, whatnot,
So I could see, okay, we have a dopamine release, we have this release, we have norepinephrine, we have things that signal that you are having a good time. That doesn't necessarily mean that just because you are feeling something that is cool, hey, I enjoy this, that this is an objective activity that is good or bad.
Stumped him.
So just because
I'm not stumped.
just because you don't,
silence doesn't mean stumping.
somebody could have the same exact experience that you're doing right now, and have paranoia and be totally.
Or they have
I
the
just use
religious
an example
connotation.
for me right now.
Right, but that's what I'm trying to say. Though.
As you know, right.
It's the same exact thing.
But the
same thought.
the idea of the
same
the
as
idea
that
of
he
this
says
being hell.
this is hell. I can say this is heaven. It's the same exact experience.
Right.
So I could have the exact opposite,
So,
just because there is no objective reality based on our theory right now. This is all just subjective, basically relativism at this point.
Right.
If I'm honest with you. So if we can't agree on all the same rules of objective reality, right? We're just merely discussing subjective preferences.
Right.
I have certainly
surely
experienced hell in this point.
Surely the easiest way for us to exist, if you distill it all down, boil it all down to nothing, is just that like I said before, if we all accepted that we don't know anything and stop trying to figure it out, maybe it would be presented
Maybe.
in clarity.
Maybe.
Maybe
The
not.
fact that no one will try it. Surely the point in life, in the name, is to live it, not to sit for all of it and existentially try to fucking figure it out. Because then you're wasting it trying to figure out what it is instead of letting it be what it is. Right?
Right. It's overcomplicating a system, and that's what we're experiencing right now. We have this crazy system.
Everything's
in front of us.
overcomplicated.
Everything's overcomplicated.
Is that because we're trying? Oh, this is a good one.
And that's the whole point.
Is this because we've now have access to all information at all times? So it's become too much. So we're so addicted. It's become the brain is trying to assimilate to the complete hive-minded system of all knowledge and all knowing things. Humans are trying to, and eventually we're already cyborgs. But eventually there will be no more need for this thing. Elon Musk is doing the neural link. We won't even need to talk, and then we'll just be. And we'll have all access to all information, and all of a sudden everyone will know everything, and then that will be it. There will be perfect synchronicity.
So then, when we were talking about the controllers not needing humans anymore, what do they need? How can you?
What is existence at that point? I mean,
if we're all cyborgs and we're all linked up and they have access to all our memories and everything.
That doesn't stop you from you being yourself. You're connected with everyone. You'll still have you and you'll still have you and your thoughts and your private emotions and feelings and your private consciousness.
But
and then we'll have a shared consciousness, and you can't access what I'm thinking.
But once you have a shared consciousness, that's the end of art. Trying to figure out is literally the very definition of art itself.
Yeah, but again, you can have a shared. It's not a one consciousness. It's a shared consciousness, and you still have your own. Because if everyone's going to link by computer system, let's like.
I could give you a dictionary. It doesn't mean you know all the answers to all the words, right? Yeah. It's the same thing. You could have all the information in the world, and we have it. I mean, fuck, we're holding it right now. We have it.
Doesn't mean you're going to use it.
Doesn't mean that we could do anything with it. Doesn't mean that we're going to use it. We can't even do anything with it.
I disagree with that because there's plenty of things that happen in the world.
For 98% of people that exist right now,
cat photos porn.
They're doing nothing with it. And what I mean by nothing is nothing of substantive, actual. Just even themselves. I'm not even going to go with society.
Yourself. Yeah.
So, I mean, even with just yourself, I mean, most people, everybody's went into Corona, oh, I'm going to learn how to do this, I'm going to learn how to do that. And it's just like, well, where did that go?
Yeah.
Netflix.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I get it. I hear all these pro Neuralink arguments. I hear, oh, well, you can have music in your head. I already have music in my head.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that's not really a huge upsell for me.
But would you get it put in?
No.
No way.
It's the same thing that, if we want to lead back into this whole division, it's like, okay, well, who's going to get the vaccine then?
I'm not getting the vaccine, hands down. I'd rather die.
Right?
You'd rather die.
I'd rather die.
Yes, but you say that now.
No, because it's going to be
You say that
forced.
now because
Forced.
it's what you feel it. But in the moment where you need to go into Whole Foods and buy a sandwich and you can't until you have the card, necessity will make you.
You said that wouldn't happen because that's total control.
I didn't. No.
You were talking about the social credit score system. You said about taxis.
It's a possibility.
You can't go in. You can't get food. It's a little different than getting
It might
a taxi.
happen. It might happen.
Okay.
With the vaccine,
It may
happen. It
So
may happen.
It's a might now.
Well, it's a possibility.
Okay. Fine. I'll sway.
I mean,
I'll sway it to
everything's
plausible.
Okay.
I'll sway it to plausible.
Right. So that's a total end of
What?
freedom.
But that's the
But
same
again,
thing.
because you don't own your body.
But what I said, it can happen, but it might not fucking stay like that because you've got guns.
It's like
which
my-
is going back to my freedom point. It
like
might
my
happen,
grandpa
but it won't
always said.
stay like that
It's like
because
my grandpa
everyone will
always said.
fucking revolt.
Nothing. Let's see. What do you always say? He said, "Nothing is impossible. everything is possible. There's a lot of things that are highly improbable, but nothing is impossible.
And another one that I really like is only the impossible happens.
I like that one.
Only the impossible happens.
Because how many things had it happen for anything to happen?
Yeah.
All
Well, it's like I told
So mind-boggling.
Therefore, everything's impossible.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I told Alex the other night.
and
you know,
nothing's impossible.
a lot of things make a lot of sense, but not one thing makes all the sense. It's really true.
It's the same thing. So if we're talking about this Neuralink, we're talking about these vaccines, we're talking about all these different things that are allegedly going to make us better, right? But nobody's
Possibly.
really lining up. Like, hey, let me get this right now. Let me get it right now.
Some people are.
Some people are.
But again, those are the early adopters, right?
Yeah,
And
you don't want to buy it until it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
well, that's the biggest thing.
Let's
Some
just
people
go
are going to
down
be
the
early
line.
adopters.
It's like glyphosate. You know, you can add amounts to people, and then the subject themselves through their whole lifetime has no effects, but their children are super fucked because it went down and destroyed the genetic level of their offspring. So the first people may no symptoms whatsoever, but then as soon as the second generation hits,
How does it play out? It's the real
Three
question.
monkeys.
How does it play out?
Yeah.
If we have this shared consciousness, if we all get this vaccine, how does it play out? Because now they're saying that people that already have the coronavirus, right? They're saying that they go from being positive to negative, and then they can be
Positive
positive again.
yeah, in 78 years of having a flu shot, we still have the fucking flu.
What if you? A vaccine implies that you need to be cured of something, right?
There's no cure. It's not a cure. A
That's
vaccine
not what I
is
said. What
it's a
I said was
preventative measure.
it's a preventative
but it
measure.
implies that you need. Right. Okay.
You're just trying to get antibodies
Yeah.
or antigens, whatever the correct terminology is. They're just trying to get your immune system, and we have to have thermosterol mercury. We have to have all these other different things inside of it
Yeah.
to be able to elicit that
Marisol.
response. Because we can't just give you this
It's
dead
fine.
virus.
Yeah, of course.
Because they stopped doing live viruses, back in the
And
80s
nanochips,
in America?
they don't even tell you
They
that's-
still give
that's
some
the
places in
chips.
the world, they still give them live viruses. People end up dying just from the vaccine. They should. But that's a
No
whole
one's ever
different-
been hurt from vaccines. That's why there's a $100 billion fund to pay for the lawsuits
From where?
from the governments. From the corporations all came together and said, "Listen, people are suing us. We need to have this collective fund so that we can silence them."
From the.
It's the U.S. government has it. It's a vaccination.
Mhm.
It has a paperwork, a bill in place.
Yeah, the money is there.
It's there.
So when
Yeah.
people do sue,
I mean,
over
look at Monsanto's
the
Roundup.
Marisol.
Monsanto knew Roundup was bad. That was not good shit.
Monsanto.
You can't get Roundup anywhere now. And there's billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of lawsuits being settled.
It was that one guy that came out that really
Yeah.
had the capstone on that.
Yeah, and Monsanto's like, okay, next.
Yeah.
Well, what happened
And then
was they're
who
worth
bought
about
Monsanto?
250.
Pfizer?
Bayer.
Or John-
Bayer.
Bayer.
Something like
Bayer.
that.
They're
Yeah.
worth $250 billion. They were bought for $50 billion, and that's because they knew that $200 billion of it would go towards lawsuits over glyphosate. And so that was just there you go.
That stuff's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at it historically. I mean, you know, Monsanto created Agent Orange. I mean, how much bad has that done? I mean, if you were even around it, you know, in a container, you could still suffer from it. I mean, even though, I mean, it would seep out through sealed containers.
Cerebral palsy, fucking
Yeah.
cancer, all that.
And if you're exposed to it, you look at a lot of Vietnam vets. I mean, that were just they watched it go off. I mean, like, yeah, you can watch a nuclear bomb go off, and you'd be blind. Like, just because you can see it and you're not, you know, physically touched by it. I mean, you could have a microscopic little molecular level of change that can barely be registered, but it would still absolutely decimate your entire DNA at a submolecular level.
How do the cameras? You know that footage you see of when the houses get blown?
yeah, the classic one.
Yeah, how do those cameras survive?
Really tough cameras.
Yeah, and they were far enough away from the blast. They were probably shielded in some kind of metal coating, and only the lens was out and whatever. They might have been fried. They got
they got that high resolution of a picture back in
And,
the
and
50s.
the film was being fed underground miles
Yeah.
away.
I mean, there were some really, really good cameras even in the 1800s.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're talking like high quality. There's
surviving nuclear blast.
I'm not saying that. I'm just
A lot
saying there
of
was good
photographers
cameras.
today-
I didn't even
If they
see
can make a nuke, I think they can make a camera that can survive from a certain distance. You know.
And it wasn't the
I
first
mean, we're
nuke.
literally splitting neutrons and protons and
Yeah.
doing this
It
crazy
wasn't
stuff.
the first nuke and the first
not saying
camera
it's
they made. I
impossible.
mean, they
Yeah.
set off thousands of nukes throughout history, and they just keep making different cameras. Like, oh shit, this one works, and then they're like, okay, well that works from that one, so let's make it better.
I'm just throwing in
they
silly
they
ones.
still set off nukes today.
It's like the moon. How they like the Tesla launch. I'm just throwing out silly ones. Like how come whenever a rocket's taken off, you always see the view of where where the rocket's been, launching from Earth, not where it's going.
Well,
Why
I
is the
mean,
camera not ever, not
if they
once,
can
not
make a
never, not
rocket-
ever? Why do they fucking turn the camera the other way around? Why can't we see where the rocket's going, not where it's come from?
Fuck.
There's just the expanse at that point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's gonna be so interesting?
Yeah,
There's
you
no.
just watch-
There's nothing to see here.
Right, there's
nothing to see
nothing
here.
to see here.
Move on.
Everybody wants to watch the explosion. They don't want to come back 5
Everybody
minutes later
wants
and be
to
like,
see them
oh,
at the
there's an
concert. They don't
explosion.
wanna
That must
see-
have been cool.
People can't see the Decepticons.
What?
Everybody wants to see themselves. Like if they post a photo of the big concert, they want to find themselves. They don't want to look for their freaking my buddy I went to second grade with. I want to find me.
Yep.
So everybody loves Earth. It's Earth-nocentric.
Personally, I think there's
Very
a lot of shit
Earth-centric.
going on in space that they just can't let us know about.
They
just-
can let us know. They just don't want to.
They did. There's UFOs.
Yeah, they said it
They're
today.
letting us know
That's
right now.
That's a fair point.
They have been.
That's a fair point. They said today. I posted the quote on Instagram.
Yeah,
It
it
is
says there are
The weird,
there are
the weird
vehicles.
cube. Thanks, NASA. I can trust NASA.
Yeah,
Never.
You ever see those videos of the sun spitting out just abhorrently black spheres? You ever see those?
Sunspots.
No, they're not
No, no,
sunspots.
the sunspots,
It's
nothing
literally
to
a
see here,
video
people.
of the sun shooting out a black sphere just into random
Have you
space.
seen?
I think that's maybe just like a vortex effect where it's creating an empty space and the flames are around it. It's not
No,
really,
like you can see it.
How does the sun even work?
Science.
it's
you idiot.
gravity. So
93 million miles away,
it's
or a
being
little bit closer.
it's so compressed. The fuel source is so compressed that even as it's burning it off, the gravity pushes it back in. So it's like a torus field where it's feeding
Yeah.
back in on itself.
Well, I mean,
What-
Eventually, it'll
Sorry,
cave in on itself.
what is it? I haven't seen it. I know it's over there. I know it's hot. I know it's big. I know it provides light. That's about all I know. You numbers are okay. It's what was it? Mathematics is the language of the universe. Okay,
It's 1,000,000 times larger than Earth.
right. But numbers are
Maybe.
the other great thing about
400
numbers.
times bigger than the moon.
The other thing.
And the moon is 400 times smaller than the Earth. Is that right? There's some
No,
weird
no.
correlation.
The
Farther away.
The Earth is 6 times larger than the moon. You can fit 6 moons in the Earth, and the sun is 93 million miles away from Earth, apparently.
Right.
But again, numbers is the language of the universe, and the wonderful thing about language, just like music, is it's malleable. There are certain laws and there are codes, but you can change those codes and you can create different things.
Right.
And that's what I believe mathematics has been used to create this theory, and it is a theory of gravity, of space, of time, of bending space, of this is the sun, this is the planet, this is
Well, it goes
what
back
this
to
is
the
what it is
unifying
when you go to
theory.
Carmel Valley and you look and there's always dots in the sky. This is what happens because Einstein and he figured out
No.
a code that's
No. Einstein himself admitted he just figured out a better understanding. He didn't figure out the code. I mean, everybody's still chasing the one unifying theory, as they call it, because we have
And there's a bunch of holes all
bunch
over
of
the
holes everywhere.
because
sometimes maths
because
doesn't add up.
we don't at all understand even what the concept of dark matter is.
Of course.
We know the majority of the universe is probably made up of dark matter because there's the vast majority we can't even begin to grasp the understanding concepts of how it works. But I mean, Einstein himself, he just made up some theories, or he
Exactly,
found,
that's it.
or he discovered them, or they were
Made him up. Like you
yeah,
said, the first
yeah,
thing he said was right.
that
Made him
work that explain things better, but they're still not it. There's still not one unifying theory.
Correct.
I mean, Stephen Hawking's, I mean, he was still chasing the unifying theory.
Is this the same Stephen Hawkins that went to Epstein's Island?
Yep.
100%.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Zero.
Just say yup. Wheelchair.
0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0,
You
0.
just said yup. Wheelchair.
Could you imagine him on the island, bro?
I'm assuming they had some sort of lift.
Well, and Stephen Hawking
lift
was a known
apparatus.
pervert.
Oh, I thought you meant literally getting onto the island from a chair.
Literally, bro.
Literally
What is
just-
Stephen Hawking gonna do? What are you gonna do on little Epstein's island here, Stephen Hawking? Are
he's
you gonna
probably
write
gonna
a
get a
book?
fresh fucking
Some
batch of
new
adrenochrome and
Pass
fucking
me the
regrow his
adrenochrome.
limbs. He probably died years ago, and or maybe they just had some random body double, and then
Pass the
he's
crystal.
just living on Epstein's Island, pumping out the math to fucking sell us the Matrix, and really he's just fucking he's
Yeah.
like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
But I mean,
right
it goes
now.
back. It goes back to
He
the,
left a wheelchair 60 years ago.
What?
It's all
Yeah.
possible.
I mean, it goes back to the unifying theory. I mean, we technically know how much we don't know, but we don't know how much we don't know. Right?
I'll follow that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'll track.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm tracking.
Okay,
Right?
I'll buy that bond.
That's
Right?
good. That's good.
Because I mean, we know to a certain extent. Because I mean, we can come here. We're 2 stories off the ground, just sitting here chilling. We're not worried about falling to the ground simultaneously. Then we can all get in our cars that are just giant fire combustion engines, go 60 miles an hour down the freeway, go around a bunch of turns, not feel an absolute horror, go to the airport, get on a fucking airplane, then go to a different country in a few hours, which used to take people most of their fucking lives to get to as a fucking mysterious maybe this might happen. And we can just do that. Yep. And then we can sit on the airplane. We can see the little screen in front of us. We can see the airplane. Yep, we're going right over here. We can look down. Okay, there, there's this, there's that, there's New York. There's, we can fly over all these countries. We can exactly see where it is, and we can see everything pinpointed. And it's not just like some dude was in his kitchen and he's like, oh, I accidentally made a fucking airplane. I mean, it's we know what we know, and we know it works, but we also know what we don't know. Right?
No, we don't know what we don't know.
Right, because I mean, why were Concords? You remember the Concorde plane where you can
they're bringing it back.
Yeah, where you can get from SFO to Europe in like 3 or 4 hours.
London to New York in 3.5 hours.
Yeah, that was insane. And they had like one accident, like nope, no more. It's like why? Airlines at the time.
It was too efficient. Exactly.
There's more money in a 10-hour flight, burning fucking 10 hours worth of fuel, paying for 10 hours worth of fuel.
And paying
More
for 10
money.
hours worth of
There's more
buying
money.
blankets, buying
Bro,
jewelry,
if
buying...
You don't think that we could get rocket fucking solar-powered electric fucking... If we're there, of course we're there. They want more money. They want it slower. The progression to wherever it is, the unified space age
Just
of...
something simple like, why doesn't LA have a train?
Oh!
Just some simple like
What
that.
about the fires? The one I said
Right.
in the chat the other day. You saw that one?
Just some
You know about that?
Awesome.
No, what happened?
So, there's a wonderful... I don't want to say conspiracy theory because
No.
I hate that.
Because it's
Alternative
immediately...
hypothesis.
There's that's the new. That's the
Alternative
new,
hypothesis?
That's the should be. What's the name of the podcast?
So
I think
the
Rejuvelation.
exact
Rejuvelation. This
So the-
episode is called Alternative Hypothesis.
the exact
For
routes,
sure, it's got to be.
the exact routes in California where they wanted to put the high-speed train
And in
That's
Australia.
all the
And in
fires.
Australia.
in California to the T.
The exact route.
Right.
the exact route.
Yeah.
In
With
the
Hart.
populated cities,
Hart.
Well, maybe perhaps
Yeah,
with
the-
energy beam weapons. That's a whole other
in
deep dark rabbit hole.
in
of
the
potential.
absolute nowhere areas and whatnot, because basically what they had to do, because we have eminent domain in the United States, is that how do we take $10 billion for real estate and turn it down to $1 billion?
Ah.
Well, they've done it before. They've done it continuously, and they've done it repeatedly.
Burn.
Burn it,
Burn.
chase them out. They've done it in PG, Feast of Lanterns. Hello,
Piece of racism. Oh, we got it in the
There you
can't have
Yeah.
it anymore.
Hey, Vinny.
We burn it to the ground. Oh my God, there's another fire, and you see these specific lines, and you put a little slide
Just
over
grid
it
it.
with the exact train routes, and it's exactly.
I showed that to him the other day on the couch, and he just went, "Well, they're like, oh."
Right, the
Yeah.
houses in the way were probably the only ones that weren't
It's a-
allowed
yeah,
a smart meter exemption
because
the
people-
smart meters
people-
loaded.
Well, people are
overloaded
like,
every
"Fuck
system
you!
in the
This
house
is
and
my
it's
land.
exploded.
This is where I live. This is how I make a living." And then
Maybe
you just
some
burn it
people
to the
do get
ground, and
this.
people are standing there like, "Well, there's nothing here, so we might as well get a little bit
I don't
and
think
just
it's-
go somewhere else."
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that planned out. It's not that deep. It is.
Why not?
It's because it is.
Every
we
time
are
I try to
gonna
tell
build
you that
this-
there's an elite group of people that
Have you ever been to Cannery Row?
No, hang on. I wasn't finished. Hang on. No. What I was going to say is, I don't think it's as simple. I don't think it's as complicated, rather, as them going that whose houses didn't get destroyed because they voted or whatever. I don't think it is. I think it's the guy going, we're building a train. Where? From here to here. Why? Because we can. Why? Because it's America, and because I am who I am.
Damn it,
Big
Feinstein.
big
Make it look
CEO
like an
boss,
accident.
and I've got money. So how
Have
do
the
we build it?
Transformers bust.
How do we build it? Because there's too many houses, there's too many red tape, there's too much property, there's too much fucking free Americans who own land through this route. So how do we knock that shit down for a train? Burn it, huh? Burn it.
how
It's old school fucking just like Goodfellas when they burn the tiki bar.
you think they literally had guys running around to every single house and
I don't know
and
how they
setting
did it.
fire
They
to
could
them?
who knows how they did it. They could
Well, I
have
said smart meters was a good choice, or electric
called
ones.
this.
smart
Literally
electric
not-
weapons.
not
They could have had a
maintaining their own
truck.
infrastructure.
Bro, in America's society
no.
today, everyone's looking at their phones and their iPads. They could have literally had a fucking oil tanker drive down the street with an open tap and just drove the route and lit the fucking
That's
thing. No
less
one would have
likely.
even known. Yeah, but the point
I
is that
called
no
this-
one would have. They was looking at their phone.
I called this
No one known.
years ago because if you look, I mean, honestly, if you look at PG&E stock, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the decades PG&E has been in existence, there's always about every 10 to 15 years, massive wildfires, massive this, lawsuits,
Yeah.
this and that. Nobody ever goes to jail.
Yeah.
They get a little bit of a fine. They make billions of dollars.
They
and-
came out and admit it. Yo, it
Yeah.
was us.
Yeah, I mean,
Oops.
yeah, exactly. Look what
Oops.
happened.
Deny.
Who owns PG&E? Everyone?
A lot of politicians.
No, who owns PG? Who owns PG&E?
I don't know.
The Rothschilds. Look it up. There's paperwork.
Oh,
They own it.
Damn.
What
they
don't
own
they
it.
own?
They own it. It's
Yeah,
true.
they own a lot of
bought
shit.
it. They bought
So,
PG&E
If,
for like.
if you look at PG&E
450
historically, I mean, look
million
at today.
dollars.
3 years ago, I mean, the stock went from $70 to $3 a share. right? Well, is PG&E going to go out? Is it going to get dissolved? Gavin Newsom's like, oh, we'll take over PG&E. We'll get rid of them. We'll put in different municipalities. None of that ever happened. And so what ended up happening was, we're going to issue a $35 million fine. Nobody goes to jail. All right, case solved. It's like, what? And PG&E came out and said, yeah, it was our fault. We had shitty power lines. We were...
The Transformers, 20 years of maintenance. We just forgot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oops,
We forgot.
Yeah. Wait, the power lines, we hadn't maintained those. They had no maintenance records for any of this stuff in certain areas.
Racists in disguise. Let's get to racism.
Well, look at FIFA. I mean, they just went on the backyard like, hey, you guys want to have a bonfire? All right. What should we burn? All the paperwork.
Yeah.
I mean, same deal.
FIFA. So much corruption in the world.
Yeah.
I heard that Monterey County is the most corrupt in California. Is that true?
Probably.
Probably.
I mean, who'd you hear it from?
I heard it.
SF?
It's not us.
That's the whole problem. That's
The
what I'm
guy's
trying to say
downstairs.
this whole
Yeah,
time.
that's great.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, hey, Monterey's pretty corrupt, you know what I mean?
Great.
And like,
Everywhere's corrupt. Everywhere. There's so many people on the planet. Information is all shared. There is a literal thick... As someone who would speak on the fact that I've fucking travelled most of the world, there's a thick fucking even spread of a little bit of everything. There's millionaires everywhere, there's billionaires everywhere, there's nice people everywhere, there's dickheads everywhere. There's fucking religious folk who walk around with fucking blocks of wood, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in this... Whatever. There's people singing all sorts of songs. There's different religions and races and cultures. There's a thick, like, even spread now of
a schmear.
A schmear of no, not a schmear. A schmear is just like a dog shit on the street. This is a cake. This is you know when you watch
spread.
From
no. You know when someone makes a cake and they put sponge and they take the icing and they put it on the top and it spins
Layers.
and they fucking paste it around the side. Or it's an even.
It looks nice,
it's
but it's still a
aesthetically
shit cake.
Yes, it's still made of dog shit in a lot of places, but but it's even and. Now they're ready for assimilation.
It's a thin veneer.
They're ready for assimilation with the machines. Give them fucking smartphones. So they gave us smartphones, and now we're trying to. How do I process all the information in the world at my hands? And then I'm just going to let it go and be lazy and live my life. But eventually, the phone will just be in the head, and I'll just be at one with the information. And you'll either give up yourself, and this exists in this place as this being, whatever, and the internet and the waves. Or you'll still retain, because you're still soul, you'll still have a conscious mind, or they're going to MK Ultra you to where you just become part of the system, or are you still going to retain somewhat of your stuff of yourself, because you're still going to be flesh and blood, even if you plug yourself in, or until the point where they start replacing body parts and things with mechanical, and you're no longer really flesh and blood.
Do that.
But the conscious mind is still there, and
So
you
do
still
you
feel
believe in the
emotion.
soul, or just the mind?
I believe in the soul. I believe in.
So could you believe it's possible to upload the soul? Somehow.
No, I don't
To create
think
an
so. I
artificial-
don't think
Well,
so.
I
I
think
think
everything
I think
is
the
ones
way
and
we
zeros.
process. I think the way we process feelings, emotions, can be invoked and they can be forced. I.e., watching a movie is designed, or listening to music, it's designed to invoke and force emotions to trigger certain things in the brain. You can look at the brain and see how it fires and whatever, but there's an abundance of natural emotions and natural feelings you can't. I mean, I'm sure they know what love is. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, what about
this is the thing that invokes love, but the feeling of true love and true connection to something is so personal that I don't think you can. I don't think there's a way of replicating that. True, genuine love for something. The love, the willing to change, the willing to change everything about yourself or move the path of like personal change or whatever. That can't be replicated.
What about
it's
a true
truly
sociopath?
personal thing. I don't believe that can ever be taken away from humanity, not with computer, not with nothing.
I mean, what
I don't
about a
think
true sociopath that has no feelings, no aspect of human emotions? They don't feel anything from the child being born to artwork to anything. There's just no emotional spectrum there. Just none. A true, absolute sociopath.
There's anomalies in everything.
Right.
A true sociopath, like to that, because I'm sure you know from your...
Well, I mean, we can look at American Psycho. I mean, what about that? Like, what about a real-life Patrick Bateman?
Well, in that movie, his love was murder. So he does not have...
Yeah, he had moments of emotion and fear and like...
No one is devoid of emotion. Even as crazy as you are, as nuts as you are,
did it
there's no
actually
such...
even
You
exist?
can't be devoid of
The whole
emotion.
point of that movie was, did it even really exist? Was the love, was the girlfriend, was the murder, was any of that even real?
Well, that's just the movie.
And even though he was acting, at the end of the day, he was still just
Even it's just a movie.
level.
It's just a story. It's been
Yeah,
written.
but-
It's-
But
it's-
there's documented cases of sociopaths, like they can see the child born and they can go murder somebody. I mean, it's
But you
very
don't-
rare,
yes,
but there are
they've
still
only
cases.
documented the things
and
they've been
it's just
tested on.
the
You don't-
level.
But they've only been documented
Right.
the things
But
they've
what's
tested
your
on.
point, Preston?
You can't
Like,
say
is
that
that
person.
can that be transferred to a computer?
But you can't say that
Right,
person
but-
truly does not feel because then maybe they don't want to fucking tell you what it is that
But
they feel inside.
do they have a soul? I mean, what?
Yes, they have a soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all
absolutely.
living beings have a soul.
Inherently conscious beings.
Everyone knows what right and wrong is inside. Some people choose not to listen. No. Some people
What is
choose
right
not to
and wrong?
listen to it. Oh, but just society, what you've grown up as, it's not right to murder someone. But it doesn't matter whether you choose to listen to it.
What
or
if you
no.
grew up in a
People
society
know.
where it was right?
Yeah, but because you grow up in the world, and eventually you'll meet people who will tell you what you're doing is wrong, and will talk to you, and you'll reflect on that. That's you've got anybody who goes to prison.
Now,
Okay, we're not talking about fucking thousands of years
So,
ago.
so it's
No,
just,
we're
so
talking
it's just
about
a
today.
cultural example, is what you're saying.
No, I just no, man.
what about
I'm
today?
saying, what I'm-
There's entire societies that exist where cannibalism and murder and all that is mandatory. That is part of
yeah.
their society. Those
100%
exist
normal.
today.
yeah. It's
And even when they have interactions with outside people, there's nothing that can ever change the society
of
of
course,
individuals.
I understand that.
Right.
Yeah, they want to keep.
Do they
people's
not
out.
have a soul?
No, they do have a soul. I didn't say they didn't.
Right.
Yeah, but we're talking about right and wrong. That's the point
Right.
that I was making.
No, we went from soul to right and wrong, and now
Yeah.
back to soul.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So,
my
is, there,
point
is
is-
there really a right and wrong? Is
Yes,
there a
there
good and
is.
evil?
yeah, there is a good and evil. Absolutely, there is
Yes.
a good and evil.
So objective reality exists.
Yes.
Done. Simple.
So
Absolutely.
if
it does.
objective reality exists, then there is objective pleasures and pains.
Right.
Yeah, anything that causes harm to someone else is a wrong. Anytime you steal, it all boils down to stats, and I say this over and over again. If you're stealing from anybody, that's the only wrong you can do. You murder someone, you're stealing their life. You lie to them, you're stealing the truth between you. If you breach an agreement, that's it. All boils down to doing something against someone else that they haven't agreed to. If you like we were talking about porn or whatever, if you both agree that you like to whip each other, strangle each other, there's no wrong in that because you're both consented, you both want it.
Right.
But as soon as the other person doesn't want it anymore, it's wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you have to stop.
You have to stop.
Everybody has a
So that
concept. I
is
think
right and
everyone
wrong.
has a concept of what right and wrong is. It's just not necessarily what your concept of right and wrong is. But everybody has a concept of right and wrong. Even if you grow up in the village where they're cannibals and whatever.
Unless you're a
they don't think
psychopath.
it's wrong to kill a person and eat them. But I guarantee you in that society there is levels of hierarchy in a society, and there's do's and don'ts,
Right.
therefore rights and wrongs.
Right.
You wouldn't even like your little brother if you're a little fucking cloth wearing person who lives in an Indian Ocean. You don't want anyone to come because you're cannibals or whatever. You throw spears at fucking keep away.
Yeah.
But if you walk up to your little brother and punch him in your face, you'll know that your mother in the tribe is going to come and you're wrong. You're in trouble.
Right.
So there is as humans, you're instilled with an understanding of what right and wrong is.
So
No one is exempt from
with
right
the
and wrong. Some
advent-
people just don't either understand it the same way as you do, or they do know and they choose to ignore it.
Right.
Or they're
so,
psychopaths and they can't tell, but they still will get the negative repercussions of the people who
But
can feel.
Right.
No one's
So-
exempt from right or wrong.
So if we look at it
even
this
if
way,
they don't understand
we now have, as a
It's
society,
karma.
quantum computing, right?
Yeah.
That didn't exist 5 years ago. It exists today.
Not that we know of. It probably existed about 8 years ago and they just told us. But yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Let's
yeah.
just say a decade, just to be safe.
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't invent it 80
Somewhat
years
round it
ago.
up.
Somewhat
it
recently,
came off the
somewhat
freaking
recently in our
black cube.
lifetime,
It fell off the
NASA,
from the back of the black
yeah.
cube.
NASA found it one day. Oh shit! What's this alien?
NASA
Look.
found it one day.
Yeah.
Like they found everything else.
Yeah.
Right.
Werner von Braun dug up from the fucking.
Yeah.
unlucky
Not Operation
base
Paperclip.
camp. Yeah.
Not Operation
Do you
Paperclip.
trust
Do you
NASA,
know-
a completely
do you know-
Nazi
So
organization?
anyways-
Do you guys know the Bible verse? I'm taking
Uh-oh.
a massive left turn. You guys know the Bible verse? It's a Psalms verse. I can't quote it, but you know the verse that's written on von Braun's grave.
Which one?
Do you know about that?
No.
Ah, so good. Someone
Uh-oh.
go, Jamie, bring it up.
Oh no! Oh no!
So, anyways,
Because I
His
haven't.
name's Phil.
Because there's
All right,
one
we're starting
thing.
the new
Because
shit
there's
here.
one thing I haven't brought up yet, which I was going to, which was perhaps which was going back.
And you
to
should
the
be
Rockets.
Jamie. This guy's the prime
So what
candidate.
happens-
for today.
Oh, I know.
You're
So
taking.
what
You're
happens-
stealing the
All right,
show.
I'll be Jamie.
All right.
what happens
Jamie.
when we have quantum
I'll be
computing
Jamie. I'll be Jamie.
that can understand things and disseminate and process information faster than all the collective 8 billion people, even if they're theoretically on the hive mind? Would that be a higher level of consciousness? And it goes back to another argument. We think as humans we're the cream of the crop on the face of the planet. However, we share 97% of our DNA with a banana.
I mean, come on.
Listen, listen. to me.
You're scaring me, dude. Just because we have similar building blocks,
Listen.
right? And they're sugars, right? And they're
Right,
so sweet.
But listen. So what if we shared 97% of our DNA with banana? We can't communicate with banana. We don't know what fucking banana tree's trying to do. It's just trying to grow, fucking make bananas. That's all. what if there's another life form that comes here, and it's the same level of correlation of understanding? And,
As us or the fucking bananas?
right. So
Oh, so good.
So we finally have the black cube that comes to Earth.
Oh,
and they're
Lord,
like,
not the
hey,
black
what are you
cube.
guys?
What, like the Borg?
Yeah, why not the Borg?
If you want to go
But
black,
they can still
don't-
communicate.
Black cubes.
But what if we have such a highly
Black-
advanced
black
life
cubes.
form that comes to Earth and sees us and a banana as pretty much the same fucking thing?
black? You know about black cube occultism and stuff. About the whole black cube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Kabbalah or
The Kabbalah,
in the
The south pole of Jupiter is
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
ball, and then you have the Muslims around a circle, and then you have
it's
the
base
fact that-
consciousness.
Right.
It's all Saturn and Satan worship.
Right.
When you get a degree, you
But
wear
it goes
a black,
back to
flat,
the
square
concept-
hat,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
fucking what's the other one?
Police officers wear the
When
squared
you
hats, the double squared hats.
when you unfold three-dimensionally, when you unfold a cube, like it's a box, it's a crucifix.
Are you talking about a hypercube?
No,
it's
it's
just
fourth
6 sizes.
dimension.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Three-dimensional
Take a
cube.
cube, a three-dimensional cube. When you open it up, like if it was origami, if you peeled away its layers, it's a crucifix.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's 3%.
So, I mean, it goes back to the point of, what really is consciousness? What is a conscious thing?
Nobody knows. Period.
Right.
Over and out.
It's
Correct.
a singular point of reference that is
Right.
continuous
But,
throughout
I mean,
time
are
and
we
space.
conscious? Is a dog conscious? Is a banana conscious?
I'd
So, I mean,
say,
to us, a dog is conscious. That has feelings and emotions. It knows
Are
right
you going
and
to
wrong.
say, how do you know that a banana doesn't think?
Why not?
what is you? You're made up of trillions of organisms. Is each organism within you the same consciousness as you?
But then what is,
Possibly.
But then we can dig that hole deeper and go, what's
You
the
ever hear about
point?
midichlorians?
So what's the metric?
Midi-chlorians, as in Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if bananas are
So many
thinking-
movies. You brought up Dante's Inferno, Star Wars,
They're
and
good
what was the other
movies.
And you brought up
Forrest Gump.
Equilibrium, which is one of my favorite movies. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
one? Fine, fair enough.
That's my favorite. Guy's name is Preston. Fuck.
Yeah.
Real quick.
And he dominated he dominated his fear. He did what he had to. They're like, oh, we're gonna just kill you without incident, and because his emotions were ruling him, and then he just flatlined. No, not without incident.
Sean
I'm
Bean-
gonna do whatever I need to do
And
to
Sean
fucking.
Bean died like in every other movie.
Yeah.
So real quick, the Bible on
Here we go.
one of Von Braun's grave. One of Von Braun, born here, died here. American flag, German flag. And then the Bible quote is Psalms. Is that battery?
Do you want to plug that somewhat working one in here?
Why?
Because this one's dying.
Oh, they're both dead.
They're both dead. This is
That
why you're
one's
holding.
dead.
This is
Right.
the same. Yeah.
We're still going.
No, that one's still going. We
This
can-
one is connected to that.
Irrelevant.
That's what this
At
one
the
is.
point
But that's the battery, right?
We're right
I
in the
don't know.
middle.
Right in the middle of the
thing.
quote, you want to break down
Just
the
let it
equipment?
run.
Well, I was
We're
trying to
going till it's
So-
down.
quiet.
Yeah,
All
One
right.
of
let's
Von
just go.
Braun.
If they
No,
don't get it,
hurry
they
up.
don't get it.
One
We
of
all heard
Von-
it.
one
We're
of
still
Von-
talking.
One of Von Braun's gravestone is the German flag, American flag, just a fucking piece of rock. One of Von Braun, born, died, and then it says Psalms 19:1. Psalms 19:1, and this is a part of the conversation. We've gone through this and that. We haven't really talked about 9/11, which I'm sure we will, and we haven't really talked about the flat Earth or the dome Earth or anything like that. I'm going to bring in the dome on the basis that two things. One,
Is he going in the firmament or what?
the firmament. Number one, I brought up the fact that a rocket flies up. We don't even see where it's come from, never where it's been. There is a video that's circulating on the internet you can find, which was a rocket hits. The rocket is taken off. You're looking at it's an independent launch, and there's as you see the Earth, the rocket distance itself from the Earth. There's a moment where the rocket just stops dead.
Yeah, I've seen it. It
It's
goes
like
off from the sand flats.
It's like
and then it goes
it's
up.
like it's hitting a glass roof, or not the glass. It's like it's hitting a roof, and you're seeing down. So the Werner von Braun, the Nazi fucking founder of NASA, who was brought here, Operation Paperclip, blah, 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 the quote that he's quoting on his fucking gravestone from Psalms 19:1 is, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork." That's the fucking quote on his grave.
Yeah, I've heard this many times. This is supposed to be some kind of justification for the flat Earth that the firmament is real.
No, but it's not justification for the flat Earth or anything like that.
It's an impenetrable dome. We're stuck here. We can't leave.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Quite
yeah, I've
possibly.
heard it.
And your thoughts on it?
It's possible, but why? The
Why
only
would
reason
the
that
founder
I think,
of NASA choose that quote of the Bible to put on his gravestone?
so you're not a flat
As a
earther.
troll?
You're just saying we're in a dome space. We're in quarantine.
No, I connect links,
Possibly.
and I'm trying to figure. Not forget flat Earth. Forget the Earth is a shape.
Look.
Doesn't matter what shape it is. We could be a fucking circle.
Oh, but it does.
We could be hang on. All right. We'll get there one step at a time. Let's just deal with firmament. We could be on a ball that has a fucking marble around it, a casing around the ball. All right. that's okay. We could have a casing around a ball that we can't see. It's possible. My point is, why would, when there's so many artistic depictions throughout different races in history have depicted a dome over the heavens, over the earth, of a dome. I could show you a bazillion different
The
pictures.
atmosphere that
whether it's
separates
Mayan-
living from
No.
total vacuum of space,
Well,
maybe.
if
You'd
you
have
look-
to
if you look at
present
the-
it some way.
If you look at the progression of religions, for the most part, I mean, Judaism, the originator of Christianity, which was then for Islam.
Moses?
Yeah, I mean, before Judaism,
Taking blood
you
samples.
can relate 99% of that to a previous one, then a previous one,
Yeah.
previous one. I mean, it always boils down to one point
Yeah.
of the origination of that. So, I mean, it makes a little bit of a sense that, you have so many different isolated countries and cultures. I mean, there's entire fucking continents
Uh-huh.
that were completely isolated from one another. And that's where it gets really weird. I mean, you look at the pyramids, you look at the structures, but it always goes back to another point, is that there's two possibilities in the known universe about conscious existing life. Either we're alone or we're not, and equally as terrifying.
Yeah, I remember that quote.
There's only two possibilities.
I don't think not being alone is terrifying. I think it's wonderful and exciting.
Is
and
it?
It has the potential. Well, everything has a good potential for good and bad. It's just how you want to perceive it. If you want to live, if you want to think optimistically and think it's going to be amazing, they're going to come down and they're going to help us and they're going to push us away from what our evil are doing.
I mean,
our
if you
sins.
have a wasp nest in your backyard, right? And
Yeah.
if we're talking about that level of cognitive dissonance, right? So for somebody that could be 93 million miles away, whatever it is, I don't know the numbers, I don't know the distance,
Yeah.
but allegedly, if we had a smart enough hyper being, whatever the hell it is,
to
right?
take us to God.
Well, whatever it
Or
is,
somewhere else.
somehow they get here,
Okay,
Just 'cause
and
they're
we
bored.
have the difference, right? So we're buzzing around like wasps,
they've already been here.
we're like a pest. You see what I'm saying?
You act like a banana.
Oh, you think they're just going to come here and wipe us out?
Well, I'm just
You're
curious.
going
So-
Independence Day.
well,
You're going
think
Will
about
Smith.
it. If there's some way for these people to get here,
You're
right?
a kid with a
Or
magnifying
whatever it
glass.
is. I don't know. I don't even
And
know.
all we are
Let's just say
ants.
it's a being. Let's just we're all hypothetical, so let's just have fun with it. So, alleged hypothetical being, right,
Cthulhu.
can get here. So obviously they got shit more figured out than us.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, right?
Right.
So when you have, let's just say, I mean, if you were hanging out with a second grader, how much are you guys gonna have in common?
Not much.
As much as you want, right? So if you're a good dude, you'll have a good time.
I mean, are you Jeffrey
Depends.
Epstein?
Hang on,
Right, you see what I'm saying?
It depends.
But again-
it depends on a lot of things, man. You say, how are you going to have a good time? It just depends on things. Like, you must have a younger nephew that you have to look after, or somebody in the family who's got a kid, and you can hang, woo, and you can hang
It
out.
all
and you can
depends.
Do stuff, and
It
it can
all
all be
depends.
peace. What if we're treated like a child? If they treat us like children, and they're just going to show us the way.
Who wants to listen is the problem.
But it's not just who wants to listen. Who's going to treat them as God?
Well,
Right.
if they're really
Who's
spiritually
going to say
advanced,
you are God? And it's on them. So the onus is on them to say, should we just pretend to be their God, or should we help them?
If they're
Do you know
really
what I mean? The
spiritually
conversation
advanced,
keeps
they
going.
would know that karma is a real thing, and they can't just step
Right,
in
right
and
and
handle
wrong.
all our
And
shit.
inherit
for us.
right
that's
and wrong
now we're getting
based
that's
on
for
the death.
us. Karma
Right.
might not exist for this.
Karma
being.
is right and wrong. You
Well,
did
you just
wrong, there
agreed
will be a
there's an
repercussion.
objective right and wrong.
So they don't want to step in and say, okay, so if Jesus and the aliens are coming, they're just tripping all over themselves, they can really make it here?
But
I mean,
plausibly,
what if a bunch of
but it's-
aliens came down like, you know about our boy Jesus? Damn. That's cool.
which is plausible. It's also plausible that the people that come here are from a place where there is no difference between right and wrong. There is only is and isn't. This thing did happen. This thing didn't happen. This thing happened. Okay, this thing happened. Acceptance. Maybe they're from a place where karma doesn't exist in their dimension, in their wherever they are. They come here. They don't know. Karma doesn't exist for them.
So they're coming from a place where
We will
there
be as
is
alien
no
to them as
consequence to any action.
Well, it's plausible. Whoever comes here will be as alien. We will be as alien to them as they are to us.
Okay, so all
Right,
right, let's
sure.
get back to the dome.
'Cause they're
and
from
the
different
focus.
Based, I mean, based on our genetic makeup, right? So if life is possible in our universe the way that we exist, right?
In our
Is that the
universe,
way
we
that
exist.
life could exist in their universe for them? Or is it totally different? Like just like the gravitational constant that we have here on Earth, right?
It's
So
more.
the way
It's more
that-
likely that
well,
it's more likely that it's completely different from everything.
You
we
know,
know.
it also goes
So
off
then
the
that
fact-
there's no objective reality, is what you're saying.
Let's
What
just
I'm
say,
saying is the cube going to land and people that look like humans are going to come out and they understand karma and love and peace.
We're
Fucking
talking
Jimi
about-
Hendrix is dope.
We're talking
Or they
about
can land
common
and
rules
go,
of the
"Fuck."
universe, which is objective reality, like gravity. You're saying that gravity won't exist in the places that they're from.
I'm saying
Maybe.
it's plausible.
So based, let's just
It's
say it's
plausible.
3
I
times
don't
the
think so.
Completely
gravity.
different dimension, yeah.
The
but
molecules
not
don't
our
Who's to say?
dimension.
Who's to
Instead of
say?
being carbon-based life forms, what if they're silicone-based life forms?
But who's to say? Again, this,
What if they're
a lot of this is
dark
based on common science and what NASA told us. And you said you don't believe in NASA, so a lot of that is based on
What
that.
if we have a being coming
Right?
here and
A lot of carbon.
An atom?
Oh, a slight give there, a slight tell,
funny.
a
It's funny.
slight tell there,
But
Johnny.
again, but think about it. The way that things work here doesn't mean necessarily that's how it's going to work over there.
The lack of
What do we know
evidence
that
is
works
not
here?
evidence,
Because we're only told.
Alex.
But we're only told
Well, I
what
mean, we
works
can
here.
see physical bodies here.
Yeah.
That's-
We're
that's
talking
what I'm
about what
basing
we
it off
know.
of.
Okay?
I'm not basing it off of molecules. I'm basing it off like if we see Preston.
But
okay,
what we know,
this is a dude.
we're going back to what we were saying before. What we know is that we don't know. What we know is that we don't know. We should stop trying to figure out what we know. We don't know because we don't fucking know. So let's just keep going. And if it's to present itself to us, it will.
But we're talking about NASA, we're talking about the dome, we're talking about the firmament, so we're trying to figure that out. You said you saw a video, I saw the same one,
Yeah.
where the rocket stops in
quite
mid-flight,
possible.
which could easily have been faked, or it doesn't even matter if it's
Doesn't
real or
matter.
not.
Doesn't
You
matter.
know?
It's
so,
possible.
But the point is that I'd like to talk about, because Preston was talking about ancient civilizations, and I'd like to talk about this too, how all religions all tend to go back to this one main, you know, the story of creation, which is beings from not here came here, and
Yeah.
they fucking stayed here, and
Possibly.
they created us, and then they left.
What, fuse us with monkeys?
Okay,
Fucked a monkey
so
or something?
if an alien came here,
four
created
monkeys.
us, and then left, and then knew we were an unstable race, they put a force field around the planet. You can't leave. You're on house arrest. You can't leave.
Quite more than possible.
And so that
Totally.
I totally agree with that, because I know that, you know, if there's a very dangerous being that you have a hand in creating, you're going to try to mitigate that damage, because you'll be responsible for that damage, whatever
but
it happens. So
that-
that we're not allowed to leave here until we're spiritually
That- see,
advanced
that's-
enough to deal with our own shit, to save ourselves, to help
That's why the
ourselves.
quote's so interesting, because but if you go the heavens, the firmament showeth his handiwork. The firmament showeth his handiwork. The firmament shows us that there is a God. Is basically what's that saying.
Everything
That's what
shows
it's
me that
saying.
there's a God.
But it's what that's saying.
Sweet riffs. That's my proof.
Okay, but
You'll
is it-
find the kingdom of heaven in a single grain of sand. You'll find all of it is in every aspect. Creation itself is divine. There is no separation. You can't say even pure evil is so magnificent and crazy, and so is pure good. Like all of it. This fan
but you're
is
saying
God.
The possibility that you know, whatever the Big Bang Theory, chemicals formed to create an explosion and life came from that.
Well,
If it's
there's a
plausible-
new theory.
Hang on. It's plausible that you say creation and creation. This idea of creation, but creation doesn't necessarily mean it was done by someone. But hear me out. It's done by a thing, a being, a conscious mind. Chemicals can happen, and explosions can happen, and things can be created. We know that to be. Hang on, wait. The way that let me get to the point. The way that mold is formed, and etc. Right? Mold is formed by chemical reactions and things occurring. It doesn't necessarily mean that someone's made it happen. But if to get back to the dome, the point in the quote, if you're to know all the things there are and to exist and to be in, you're searching for a God, and you look to the heavens and you look to the skies and you see stars and there's planets, and we look from a microscope and we can see shit. All right, let's fucking go. Let's go get there and try and get it. If you've gone to fly out to try and figure out where everything came from, because the potential of God and creation and other things are out there is still potential, because you haven't left the planet yet to go there to see. You haven't seen the evidence. But if before you get there, you hit a roof and it's a firmament, like you said, you're on house arrest, that there is the proof of God, because it's been put there. And whoever put that around us is most likely responsible for us and everything we have here. So that's where the firmament quote becomes interesting, that the fact it's the fucking founder of NASA, the guy who created shit. He didn't put a quote saying, fucking first man on the moon, God bless America, or I'm the man that made it, I did it, I made us, I set humanity free to the next age, or some sort of, you know...
Pro-Hitler sentiment.
whatever. He didn't. He said, "There's God."
I mean, where'd he come from?
He more than likely went.
from
They more
Austria.
likely went fuck. There's amazing pictures of him and JFK sitting in NASA, just hanging out together. Like who's hanging out?
Well, the Nazis, the true Nazi group, were all occultists. They were all into Kabbalism, the dark magic. They all studied
the
ancient-
Vril society.
Yeah, and they were talking about how, you know,
And they still exist today. I mean,
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course it does.
I mean, we had Hellboy with the cult Nazis, and now there's Hail Hydra.
exactly.
You know, it's like,
And
Yeah,
they
that was
believe
just-
that they're
that was-
descendants from the original.
even though they really
super
control
beings.
everything, they still go Hail Hydra, just super quiet, whisper.
Yeah, I told
It's
my
all
wife
in the
that
shadows
was
and everything.
nuts.
But you get back to really the creation of the universe, the Big Bang Theory. Everything was compressed down to the size of a pea, because for the most part, an atom, as we understand it, is 99.99999, you know, to infinity.
Almost entirely nothing. Supposedly.
Empty.
It's empty.
And then we finally got the first picture of a molecule, and it related back to our mathematics of, oh shit, we thought this is a molecule looks like, and now we have a picture of it, and it looks pretty fucking close. Not exact, it's not like we can see the shit moving around, but it looks pretty fucking close. Then we look at, you know, the Big Bang Theory. What if it was all compressed down to a single P? Where did that start? What if there was literally nothing? As we know, a part of an atom is negative, right? What is negative? It's the void of everything. Everything that could possibly be it. Negative is the void of it. So what if there was nothing, just in a vast expanse of infinite amounts of nothing, and then somehow at the very, 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 very center of that, something just came. And you had your first negative. Out of the vast expanse of pure negativity, you had your first negative tiny thing that just barely existed. And because you have an infinite amount of space around that, then there's another one, and then there's another one. And as we know, one overruling balance of the entire world as we know it exists is that for every negative, there's a positive. And then we also know between those two, there has to be a middle ground. But we don't know where the negative is, and we don't know where the positive is. It could be this way, it could be that way, it could be anywhere else. But at some point in there, at a finite perspective, within the numbers, there has to be a middle point. Theoretically, there's always a middle point. Between -1 and 1, there's a 0.
So it's all mathematics.
Right, and we know the 0 is the middle point between 1 and -1.
Where's the beginning?
And we know the 0 exists. We don't really understand what the 0 is, but we know the 0 exists.
You know what the oldest symbol for
Right.
God is? It's a circle with a dot in it, because it's an eternity
What
with a
symbol
single
for what?
point. It's a circle
Yeah.
with a point in it.
Dr. Manhattan.
It's the oldest symbol for God.
Right. So if
One
we
of
look,
the oldest.
if we look at Dr. Manhattan,
It's also drawn on the side
Right.
of that building down the street.
right. So if we know that
On
there's
the
an
top.
infinite amount of negative space,
Pillars in a circle.
we also know that for every negative or for every opposite, there's an equal. God, I can't even.
An equal and
remember.
opposite reaction.
Right. So we know there's negative, we know there's positive, we know there's neutral. That's what atoms are made up of. Thousands of years before we even could conceptualize what an atom was. And now we know atoms exist. We know exactly if we take this kind of atom and we put it with this kind of atom and we do this and we do that with that kind of atom, we put in this space, boom, there's a nuclear bomb. And we can do that consistently, continuously, and repeatedly every single time without fail. We know how to make a nuclear bomb, and it exists only on the fact that we know where the positive, where the negative, and where the neutral is. That's it.
Do you think that the Bible's
That's it. Those three things. And so we created a massive space from nothing that created a negative, then became a positive, then we have a neutral. And then it just became so concentrated, something happened, here we are.
Do you think perhaps that the Bible's this is just some mental? The Bible's idea of Adam and Eve is just exactly what you're talking about. Positive,
Right.
negative.
We had
the
Adam,
atoms.
we had Eve. Where's the neutral? The snake. Right? We had Adam and Eve. God, the overbearing whatever it was, told Adam and Eve, don't eat the apple. Well, where's the neutral? Hey, I got an apple. Do you want to eat it? Do you want to eat this apple? No, I don't want to eat the apple. I'm Adam. But Eve ate the apple. Something happened. Right?
Same as when as a collective,
Continuously and
Same as-
repeatedly and consistently.
and same as a collective consciousness when they said, right, there's a thick smear spread of all humanity now. Let's let them have smartphones. And what did they have?
Right.
The Apple iPhone. And what is the symbol of the Apple? As a
Chomp
company,
on it, yeah.
Right.
an apple with a fucking
But-
bite bitten out of it. And that's
Right.
his technology for everybody. That's
So
the
if-
forbidden
so
technology.
if I
because we're
invite
no
you
longer
guys
human,
over-
we're becoming cyborgs.
Right. If I invited you guys over and I made a 5-layer cake, the most delicious 5-layer cake you guys have ever eaten in your life,
I'm hungry
And
just
then-
talking about food, bro.
and then I said, 1 layer is dog shit. Nobody eat that cake.
Phil would.
Maybe.
Send it.
100%.
Yeah. Then I said, okay,
Wait,
well,
wait, what did the dog eat?
right. Then I said, well, okay,
That's
well,
natural.
half of 1 layer is dog shit. Then everybody goes, okay, well, I mean,
50
there's still dog
chunks.
shit in there. Then I said, well, 1 layer is 99.999999999% cake, but there's
Just enough.
just a little sprinkle, just a
little
little
nugget.
hint
Just the
of dog
chance.
shit.
So there's a little sprinkle of dog shit in everything.
Yeah,
It's atomized,
exactly.
it's poo.
And everybody's cool with it.
Yeah.
So what's the
you have a-
acceptable level of
Because
dog
if
shit
you
you're
can't
willing to
see
eat?
it or can't smell
You know
it,
you're eating dog shit,
if you can't sensually,
but this is a really good cake.
You can't-
I can't not eat this
if
cake.
you can't, a lot of people, you'd be surprised at the amount of people that wouldn't eat that just
I mean,
because you
we
said the
have-
word dog shit. The connotation of that
Yeah.
puts people off. But
Yeah, but you can't say, "Hey, I got dog shit cake over here." Nobody's gonna eat that.
There's literally
No one's gonna eat
legal-
Tide Pods either. We just proved that.
There's legal ranges.
they
There's-
better not eat his fucking your theory there.
There's
You
legal
said Tide
ranges
Pods.
of
Right.
insects, rat
Insects.
poisoning,
Yeah.
Poison.
feces,
Yep.
and this is all broken
Everywhere.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, this is the tolerable amount. We can have 7 nuggies of feces in this whole
And
mac
they
and
still
cheese.
sell billions of Big Macs a year.
I'm gonna find the article and I'm gonna send it to you where they did a swab of the seats, handles, escalator, train, all over London. They do it every year. They wipe shit in London. They tell you about it, and you just go, oh.
Yeah.
Of the amount of semen, blood, feces, piss, puke, everything. They pick up everything. Fuckload.
Mhm.
You touch it every day. You fucking wipe your hair. Da, da, da.
Adrenochrome.
But you know what?
No problem.
That's all. I send all that stuff because that builds your immune system.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really does.
Stay in the house.
You have
Stay in
certain
the house,
households
out
that
in
are
the
Don't
so
exercise.
Don't
clean.
exercise.
You need to wash
eat-
your hands. You need to
Get
take
food delivered to the
3
house.
showers
Takeaway
a day.
food. Get
You
liquor.
need, you need
liquor
a
store.
bowl. You need
It's a
cooking.
free
You need a
essential.
process.
vacation.
It's essential.
2020 is a vacation.
What? You're gonna take a vitamin? Hold on, don't do
You're
that.
gonna go running? You
No,
can't go to the
no,
beach.
no.
No matter what
No,
you
no,
do,
no,
be
for sure,
afraid.
no.
Be afraid and stay inside. Do
But
what
they want people to get sick because they want people to get sick. They want numbers to rise. They want death. That's what it is. For whatever purpose, they want death. That's the goal. They want it to sacrifice or we're overpopulated or
So
whatever.
where's your proof? Who's the guy coming out saying we want death?
The Georgia Guidestones.
Okay.
I didn't think anyway. Okay. The Georgia Guidestones. You know about that?
There's supposed to be this amount of people, and these are the rules for this society.
Yeah, the committee of 300, the round table group, all of them.
We can go as deep as you want to with
The
it,
royal-
but there is a giant statue that's been placed in the middle
The
of
biggest
Georgia.
problem,
It claims
you know-
500 million people, right?
Yeah.
Says it.
The biggest problem, especially being in California, is that growing up here is that I was always into dirty shit. I was always into
We all were.
digging dirt, hunting. I've killed animals. I've hunted. I've gutted them. I've stuck my arm up to my shoulder and antelope in Montana, gutting them, cutting them the esophagus. Shit you had to do, harvesting organs, eating it. I mean that was just a way of life up there. But you tell 99.9% of the kids in PG, hey, let's go kill an animal, and then you got to gut it and do all this stuff. They'll go, no, ew. And then they'll pull out their phones, like, look at this psycho guy killing an animal, and now he's gutting it. Ew. Let's go to McDonald's.
Meanwhile, they all go to McDonald's. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing, if they were true to their
That's
beliefs,
just
they're
society.
like,
That's just where we are.
I can't believe people go hunting. I go to the store and buy my meat
but
where no
bro,
animals were harmed.
Bro,
It's like, no.
Yeah, but people do crazy shit like that because people are lazy. And people just like... But
they've been
But
desensitized
that's
to
the
the
problem.
violence.
Kids today are not exposed to the same environment. I mean, it's like Danny said the
how much
best.
money do you give to Budweiser?
A lot.
Instead of making your own beer.
Hey, I can make my own beer.
Et voila.
But it's like Danny said the best.
Same thing.
We
People go to
have the
McDonald's
last,
instead of going hunting for their own deer.
in society
difference?
today, for the most
Yeah, but
part,
he can make his own beer. What he's trying to say is these kids
And the
can't
kids
do it.
can do that. They just don't want to.
They won't.
Doesn't
They don't
matter if
know
they
how.
won't. But that's not the question. The question is,
let
can
me
they?
finish
They
a
don't
couple
know
points,
how.
Alex. Let me finish a
It
couple
doesn't matter
points.
because they haven't learned.
Listen.
The point is, can they? And yes, they can.
Listen, Alex, let me finish a couple points.
What are you really saying?
Number one, Danny said the best. We had the last real childhood, especially in America. Because when we were growing up, Phil, you're a little bit younger, but you're still in the same...
Just a minute, I know that it'll surface. So let me just hang out for the night, it serves a purpose. It lets me take a break and I might not think it's worthless. In the morning I can fight it, in the morning I'll rewrite it. Shh, I don't wanna talk right now. Got enough to think about, hits in the clouds. I don't even wanna think right now. Got enough to worry about, gotta keep it down.